Ladies and gentlemen, I do not think I've ever seen this before. Not only does Underdog have a free bet this week, but they have a boosted bet as well. Let me pull this up. I guess it's their Thanksgiving special, whatever it is. I cannot be more excited. They have the boosted bet of Dak Prescott at 246.5. So essentially, if you create a parlay with that, they're going to boost the odds. Okay, I think we understand that. And also, they have the free bet with Saquon Barkley over under half a rushing yard. I needed to make this video. We needed to go through and do a live stream Q&A and talk about this at the very top because I needed to make sure you're taking advantage of it. Now, I know 99% of y'all are already on Underdog, but if you're not, you can find the link in the live chat. You can find the link in the description. You can find the link in the comment section. And when you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. So what I'd recommend is probably go deposit $10, immediately have $20 in your account, go bet 10 of those in a parlay that includes the free Saquon Barkley bet, and then the other 10 in a parlay that includes the boosted Dak Prescott. I can't believe this. I'm going to be excited to make our player prop video this week. But outside of that, let's go through. Let's dive into these Q&A questions. Let me pull up the live chat right now. We just threw a thumbnail on this bad boy. And as I pull this up, if you have not done so already, please make sure you go down there, drop a like on the live stream. If you're watching this as a video later on, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I mean, I've not missed a single day of live streaming in like 150 days, something ridiculous. This is what we do every single day without a break. But I think we got that poll out there. We have Aaron in the chat, Uday out the chat, Team Fusion Western. Thank y'all all so much for coming out. Let me get the poll to make sure everybody remembers to hit that like button as they come in. Let me change the chat to subscriber only. And then I will send out a little notification on Discord to let people know that we are live. Because I know usually we don't go live this early. But hell, I figured it's either sit around, watch a couple YouTube videos myself, or maybe go live for a little longer. So might as well fire it up a little earlier than usual. Okay. Okay, Aiden says Jamal or Swift. Okay, my friend, we can't look at Jamal Williams scoring 3 touchdowns this past week and say DeAndre Swift. I mean, DeAndre Swift literally is playing behind Justin Jackson. How the hell could I ever tell you to go through and take DeAndre Swift over Jamal Williams? How could I do that? Oh my gosh, my man. What kind of question is that? I mean, I still want to believe that DeAndre Swift has rest of season upside, but I honestly don't think I can. Now, Aaron says we have one question. Are we going to go Alvin Kamara, Keenan, Jonathan Taylor? I mean, Alvin Kamara and Keenan, or Jonathan Taylor and Christian Kirk? I'm going to go JT and Christian Kirk. Now, keep in mind, Jonathan Taylor hasn't gone through his bye week just yet, but still, Kirk, Keenan Allen, very comparable for me. And I'd rather have Jonathan Taylor over Alvin Kamara. So that one's going to be relatively easily. But we have a donation coming out from Drake. Thank you, my friend. Says 12-team BBR format. We have Dak and Watson at QB. Running back, we have JT, Etienne, Stevenson, and Zeke. Wide receiver, we have Chase, McLaurin, Pickens, Tony, Odell. Tight end, we have Komet and Njoku. Team is 7-4. Are we championship inbound? Okay, so I'd say, honestly, going to be in a good spot when we can go through and, for the fantasy football playoffs, play the matchups between Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson. We have multiple top 10 running backs with your first 3 guys. We have Chase coming back long term. I mean, if we were to do anything, maybe we could go through and try to upgrade our wide receiver 2 spot. Now, I don't know if you can get a lot of value for Ezekiel Elliott right now, but if we could go through and trade away Ezekiel Elliott and Terry McLaurin and get, a wide receiver 2 that we're very excited about, get someone like Amon-Ra St. Brown, maybe we wouldn't even have to give up that much. Maybe we could go through and trade away Terry McLaurin and George Pickens, or Terry McLaurin and Odell Beckham Jr. If the Amon-Ra St. Brown owner is a little worried about Jameson Williams possibly coming back in, I'll say, Honestly, we should not be worried about Jameson Williams coming back in here because Jameson and Amon-Ra, they play almost two completely different positions. Jameson Williams going to be that field stretching wide receiver that, it's taking the top off the defense. Honestly, maybe making the entire Detroit Lions offense a little more efficient overall, which we should be excited about. And Amon-Ra St. Brown's still going to be the guy that has the targets underneath, the guy that is racking up the volume. So yeah, you're in a very good spot. I would just say the only thing we would potentially look to do is go ahead and upgrade wide receiver too. David Njoku, we said not to start him last week because it was first week back in, but honestly, maybe we still have the upside rest of season because you will get Deshaun Watson in here eventually. Okay. Now our next question coming out from, I believe, Adrian, thank you, my friend, says 8-3. We have Tua, Etienne, Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Godwin, Kirk, Amari, Tony, Njoku, Greg Dulcich. We have 4 good receivers. Should I try to sell one, and for who? If you were going to be looking to sell one of these wide receivers, we're keeping Amon-Ra St. Brown for the reasons we just mentioned. I kind of want to be keeping Chris Godwin. I definitely want to be keeping Amari Cooper. If you really wanted to go ahead and to package together Christian Kirk and a tight end, if you could move Christian Kirk, David Njoku, and Greg Dulcich and somehow sneak your way into Mark Andrews, then hell yeah, we'll go ahead and we will make a move like that if possible. In reality, it probably isn't possible. In reality, you're probably not going to be able to do that. I think that you're very set. Like, what the hell am I supposed to tell you to do? Other than if we can upgrade at that tight end spot, let's do it. But please keep those top end receivers like St. Brown, Godwin, as well as Amari Cooper, because you can go through and flex one of those guys, obviously. Now, Quaim says Amon-Ra for Najee and Antonio Gibson / Treylon Burks. With the Jaylen Warren injury, with Najee Harris having a better schedule going forward, if you wanted to go through and trade for Najee Harris and get both Gibson and Burks, if you're getting those 3 pieces, I think it is a fine deal dependent in your league format, dependent on your overall roster and how desperate you are going to be for running back production. So I hate to answer this way. I know it's a cop-out answer, but I do really think it's up to your team, my friend. Now, Mystic says Mike Evans and Kenneth Walker for CeeDee Lamb in a 6-team league where we have to start 4 wide receivers and 3 running backs. We have Aaron Jones, Damien Pierce, Ramondre Stevenson, Jeff Wilson Jr., and Rashad White. We have Kupp, and we need a wide receiver too. I know it's a 6-team league, and I know in a 6-team league, what we are looking for is best player available, best player available, best player available. Depth's going to be very easy to come by, even in a situation where, yeah, we have to start 4 wide receivers every week. Who the hell cares? But Kenneth Walker, in my opinion, is such a good running back that he is far from depth. He is a bona fide stud. So to trade both Kenneth Walker and Mike Evans to get a slight wide receiver upgrade to go from Evans to CeeDee Lamb, I don't know if I can do it. Now, Mystic says Ramu says, opinion on a trade I made. JT Palmer for Najee and Waddle. Okay, I'm not going to complain about getting Waddle. Running back, we have Pollard, Jeff Wilson Jr., Najee Harris, DeAndre Swift. Wide receiver, we have Jefferson, Waddle, Higgins, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Christian Watson. Who would you start and who would you flex? So at the wide receiver position, I'm going to be starting Jefferson and Waddle. We are going to be flexing T. Higgins because at running back, we're going to be starting the combo of Najee Harris and most weeks, Tony Pollard. Most weeks, we will have Tony Pollard at RB2. But this week, Jeff Wilson Jr. going up against the Houston Texans. So I'm not going to fault you at all if you wanted to go through and jam Jeff Wilson Jr. in there over Pollard. Now, regarding the trade, I really like the price point we are getting these 2 guys. I like the fact that we're able to sell off Joshua Palmer as the hype from his Monday night performance. But what we really need to do to make this trade worthwhile is we need to trade one of Donovan Peoples-Jones or Christian Watson. I actually think Christian Watson is going to be a sell high name, given the fact that you are looking at a wide receiver that had 6 targets compared to, 11 targets for Allen Lazard a week ago. Randall Cobb had 6 targets. Aaron Jones had 7. Christian Watson really didn't heavily get involved. And on top of this, we'll get Romeo Doubs back, maybe not this week, but next week. So I think for that reason, we're probably going to want to go ahead and, sell Christian Watson, package him with the running back. You can choose which running back that is. Maybe you want to go through and package Christian Watson and Jeff Wilson Jr. and go get a running back too that you're very excited about. It's a very interesting spot, very interesting spot. And real quick, if you're just now coming in here, let me remind you, I've never seen this before on Underdog. Not only do they have a free bet for everybody on Thanksgiving with Saquon Barkley, but they have a boosted bet with Dak Prescott for those parlays where your odds, your payout's going to be significantly higher. I've never seen them have 2 special bets like this in an individual week. So make sure you're going and taking advantage of this. When you sign up for Underdog with promo code FLOCK with the link in the live chat, the link in the description, the link in the comment section, they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. And you can take advantage of these. Available in damn near every state. I'm thankful for Underdog Fantasy this Thanksgiving. But Kaloum says, we lost Kupp, but we traded Keenan and DK. Keenan for DK and Allen Lazard. Is this a W? With Allen Lazard, if we're going to get Romeo Doubs back in, Christian Watson taking the step up, and Randall Cobb off the IR, goes real quick from being a player that has absolutely no target competition to all of a sudden, there's a decent amount of it. I would rather have Keenan Allen in a full PPR format over DK Metcalf. I know we're getting aggressive rest of season with the Mike Williams injury. In a full PPR league, I may prefer Keenan. Non-PPR will go Metcalf. Non-PPR will go Metcalf. Full PPR may go Keenan. Now, Bean says, I got Chase, Brown, Waddle, Godwin, Olave. Want to try to get Cooper and Hawkinson for a running back. Who should we give up? Running backs are Barkley, Pollard, White, and Kareem Hunt. So, dear God. If you were going to sell one of these running backs for the combo of Amari and TJ Hawkinson, you're not going to be able to sell Rachaad White for him. You're not going to be able to sell Kareem Hunt for him. Okay, actually, no, you're asking which wide receiver should we give up. I was a little confused. No, at wide receiver, if we're going to be looking at this, I think if you wanted to go through and take Chris Olave and pivot over with a package of maybe someone like Rachaad White, someone that we've been hyping up for quite some time, but sounds like maybe hype's gone a little bit too far where now people are acting like Leonard Fournette's not coming back this season. If we could go get, Amari and TJ Hawkinson that way, I would really like it because maybe Chris Olave is a little bit better than Amari Cooper short term, but long term, when you get Deshaun Watson in, you would rather have Deshaun Watson and it wouldn't even be remotely close. Now, Eagle Larza says, line me up in a full PPR format. We have Jalen Hurts, need 2 running backs, Kamara, Montgomery, 2 receivers, Jefferson, St. Brown, Kelsey at tight end, and 1 flex, Metcalf. Down there in the bench, we have Dak, Dalvin, Swift, Pittman, Foreman. Your thoughts, Mason? Thank you so much for supporting the channel, my friend. Really the only thing we could look to do is get Dalvin Cook in this starting lineup. That's the only thing that would even be, arguable. And I think I would probably sneak him in. Now, I know it's a tough matchup going up against the New England Patriots. I know the Minnesota Vikings just lost 3-40. Which, if you're new to football, 3-40 is not necessarily a good thing. But, I think that if you are in a spot where you are going to get the guaranteed workload, like Dalvin Cook was actually productive in the horrendous game this past week. Probably someone that needs to be in your starting lineup. Now, Rocket says, 1 in the flex in a standard league, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Michael Carter, Nico Collins, or Darius Slayton. So Darius Slayton, I think, is going to be a viable option rest of season with all the injuries for the New York Giants. I would rather not start Darius Slayton this week, though, given the fact that he's going up against the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys just limited the Minnesota Vikings to 3 points, so probably a defense that we need to be avoiding. I think you probably end up playing Donovan Peoples-Jones here. I mean, who's been very good for about a month now. The gasoline's going to be thrown on the fire when we get Deshaun Watson in, but I think if you had to start someone out of this group, we'll go Peoples-Jones. Mystic says, forgot to mention we also have ETN. Wide receivers are Jefferson, Allen, Burks, Olave, Christian Watson. I had Cup, but he's most likely not coming back. Okay, so going back to this, I understand if we have ETN, we have a little more running back depth. And yes, if we lost Cooper Kupp, we should be going ahead and we should be probably trading for a wide receiver. But I will repeat myself. I think Evans and Kenneth Walker's just too much. I don't think there's some massive gap between Kenneth Walker as well as, CeeDee Lamb. What's the real gap between those two guys? What's the real gap between CeeDee Lamb and Mike Evans? Maybe I am underrating the man, but I think we just have to prefer Kenneth Walker and Mike Evans over CeeDee Lamb. I think we have to. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from AJ says, in a half PPR league, should I drop Sutton, Foreman, or Lazard for Latavius Murray? Thanks. Been a subscriber for years. Love the content. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, my friend. With Latavius Murray, looks like he's in a pretty damn good spot where he's not going to have any competition with an injured Chase Edmonds. Also, obviously, we have Melvin Gordon getting waived. I was very, very surprised to see both these things happen. But for your ranking these guys going forward, just to give you a sneak peek of our rankings that will be coming out tomorrow. We'll be live streaming these rankings tomorrow for everybody. If you look at where we have Latavius Murray in comparison to Deontay Foreman, I have Latavius Murray this week ranked running back 24. Deontay Foreman ranked running back 29. Latavius Murray's getting more involved as a pass catcher than Deontay is. Not only that, but at the same time, yes, Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos are very, very bad. But I would have more faith and Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos than Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers. So it's a close call. It's not like a smash, but I would drop Deontay Foreman to pick up Latavius Murray. Can everybody please let me know in the live chat right now? We have 400 people out here. Can you let me know, would you rather have Latavius Murray or Deontay Foreman? Latavius Murray or Deontay Foreman, please let me know. Now, our next question coming out from Ernest, who says, should I try and trade CD for another high-end wide receiver? I'm worried about how much the Cowboys like to run the ball as well as the Odell possibility. Don't be worried about Odell. Even if Odell goes, he's not going to hurt CeeDee Lamb. I'm not worried about that whatsoever. And quick side note, looks like most people want Latavius Murray over Deontay Foreman rest of season. Okay, good to know. And if we are going to look at trading away CeeDee Lamb, if we go back to the trade that someone asked us a little earlier on, CeeDee Lamb versus Mike Evans as well as Kenneth Walker. Yeah, we should probably go ahead and trade away CeeDee Lamb. If that's the price point of Lamb, let's do it. If we could trade away Lamb and get Waddle, I would do it. I know a lot of people aren't going to like that, but hell, I really like me some Jalen Waddle. If we could trade away CeeDee Lamb and get in Devontae Adams, even if we have to add a small piece, I would do that as well. Because like you said, they are wanting to go through and run the ball consistently in the second half. Okay. Now, Dub coming out with our next question. And real quick, we are 1 like away from hitting 100 likes in this live stream. Please make sure you go down there and drop a like. And Dub says, 12-team non-PPR. Who should I start? Currently have Lawrence, CMC, ETN, Evans, Watson, McBride, and then in the flex, Walker. Bench is Pittman, Aaron Rodgers, Jeff Wilson Jr., Samuel, Julio. Okay, I think we can drop Julio safely at this point, my friend. Goddard, Deontay Foreman, Mariota, LT for a tight end. Okay, so let's look at this. Who the hell is... Okay, you're asking if you should pick up Logan Thomas. Yes, I think you should go ahead and pick up Logan Thomas. I would rather start Logan Thomas over Trey McBride. And then if we are going to look to do anything, I think maybe we can sneak in Marcus Mariota into the starting lineup. Mariota's been a bad real-life NFL quarterback. I think it's hard to deny that. But he is giving you rushing upside. Like Marcus Mariota, just because his rushing production, he is someone that's a little okay in a fantasy context. The matchup against Washington isn't horrendous. I know this defense just went through and shut down the Houston Texans, but it's Davis Mills and the Houston Texans. What are we expecting? So if it's a 4-point passing touchdown format, let's put Mariota in the starting lineup. And then the other guy that we'd be looking at down there on the bench would be Jeff Wilson Jr. that I really wanted to get in. I mean, Jeff Wilson Jr. has a phenomenal matchup against the Houston Texans, but can we play Jeff Wilson Jr. over Christian McCaffrey? Nope. Can't play him over ETN. Can't play him over Kenneth Walker. So it sucks. I would love to get him in, but I don't think we can. I think the one move that we could actually look to make is go through and look to trade away look to start Michael Pittman over Christian Watson in the starting lineup. Like Christian Watson was a must-start guy for us this past week, and Christian Watson crushed, and I'm very excited it happened. But I think we honestly got a little lucky calling him a must-start player because the man, while he did have his 2 receiving touchdowns, which is phenomenal, at the end of the day, I mean, with Christian Watson, he had 6 targets. Aaron Rodgers threw the ball like 39 times. So I think if we're getting the guaranteed target volume with Michael Pittman, I'd put Michael Pittman in the starting lineup over Christian Watson and also put Mariota in the starting lineup over Lawrence just because the rushing upside. Lawrence is the better real-life quarterback. Now, our next switch coming out from Tyler says, Dak or Kyler? I would rather have Kyler when he gets back from the bye, and James Conner or ETN. I would easily rather have Travis Etienne over James Conner, even if Conner's playing every snap. Now, Gabriel says, love the content. Would you be trying to trade Pierce and or Sanders? And if so, who are some other running backs to target? Yes, sir. I would go through and try to trade away Damien Pierce. We've been talking about trading away Damien Pierce for the past month, and people have been making fun of us for the past month for it. But the reason I'm looking to do this is with Damien Pierce. While, yeah, he's a very talented running back, at the end of the day, there are 2 main issues with him. With Damien Pierce, he is playing in a piss-poor offense where he does not catch the ball. You can be a running back that's playing in a bad offense. As long as you're a pass catcher, you're still going to have access, to high-value touches. But you cannot combine those 2 things. It is very difficult to be a running back that does not catch the ball in the league's worst offense. So I would go ahead and look to sell Damien Pierce if we could. The timing's not great. We should have sold him a couple of weeks ago. If your trade deadline isn't until like week 14, though, you may be better off just waiting a week and hoping that the stink of the Washington game comes off of him a bit. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. But if we are going to be looking at what we have with Miles Sanders, I would say probably not. I mean, with Sanders, his value is very low. I know he's not catching the ball. I know he is getting touchdowns vultured from him by Jalen Hurts. By freaking Kenneth Gainwell. Are you kidding me? But I think you're going to get significantly less, and he's playing in a much better offense. Now, Brandon says, Najee or Keenan this week in the flex in a PPR format. I'm excited about both players. I think if Jalen Warren misses, which we can assume he will, you got to go Najee Harris. Given the workload that Najee Harris had this past week, the week before that, back-to-back weeks with 20 carries, obviously, at the same time with Najee, this is a running back that will catch the ball out of the backfield. I don't want to make it seem like I am some Najee Harris fanboy, but he's probably someone that needs to be in your starting lineup. I don't want to be labeled the Najee Harris guy. As we've said before, he was a buy low guy for us a few weeks back, but that was just because everybody hated him and his schedule was about to get much better. And maybe Kenny Pickett got a little better. It is a pretty tough spot to be in, though. Okay, so now our next question coming out from, I believe, Tyler says, thoughts on David Njoku with Deshaun Watson back? I think when Njoku's fully healthy, he'll be a top 10 tight end. I don't think we can start him until you actually see him fully healthy and we see Harrison Bryant, get his own role scaled back. But when it's all said and done, especially for the playoffs, he will be a top 10 guy. Now, Zach says, traded the Andrews and the Lamar stack. Okay, hopefully we got a lot in return. Please tell me we got a lot in return. And Tyler Lockett for Josh Allen, Dalvin Cook. Am I insane for this? It's a 10-team BBR format. Also have Najee, Higgins, Amari, Kenneth Walker, Jamal, Swift, and Jawan Johnson. It is a very fair price point. Clearly, Josh Allen's going to be an upgrade over Lamar Jackson. I don't think anybody's going to be arguing with that. And if we are going to be looking at pivoting off of Andrews for Dalvin Cook, it's fair. I would have really liked to keep the stack. I think that they will be better going forward. But it's probably going to be a spot. It just comes down to your personal preference. I'm sitting here trying to think about it, my friend. I think it's down to your personal preference. And real quick, just know if you're spamming the chat with the same question over and over again, you'll be muted for the time being. It ruins the chat for everybody else. And also, I need to make sure you know this because I've never seen something like this before. On Underdog this week, they have 2 specials for everybody for Thanksgiving. They have the free Saquon Barkley bet, and they have the boosted payout with Dak Prescott as well on Thursday. I literally have never seen an offer as good as this. Please make sure you're going and taking advantage of it. I know 99% of y'all are already signed up for Underdog. If you're not on Underdog, they're available in damn near every state. When you sign up with promo code FLOCK with the link in the comment section, the link in the live chat, the link in the description, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. And please make sure you're taking advantage of that. Literally, it's just free money sitting there for you on this Thanksgiving. And I am thankful for Underdog this Thanksgiving. Now, Santi says, should I trade Swift and A.J. Brown for Alvin Kamara or Dalvin Cook? I would say Swift is not what's holding me back in this trade. It's A.J. Brown. I still think A.J. Brown's a bona fide alpha, top 10 wide receiver rest of season. I still think that his target share is going up with the Dallas Goedert injury. So I really don't like the idea of going through and trading away A.J. Brown, especially not right now at an all-time low. I'd say no. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're not. Now, SF says, Kyler, CMC, JT, Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, Dalton Schultz, Jamar Chase, Carlson, DK, and Tony on the bench. Rate the team, please. In a 10-team PPR format. Love the videos, by the way. Thank you so much for the support, my friend. I mean, I think that it's a phenomenal team. You have 2 top 5 running backs with CMC, Jonathan Taylor. You have 2 top 5 wide receivers with Diggs and DeAndre Hopkins. You freaking have 3 top 5 wide receivers when we get Jamar Chase back in. What the hell am I supposed to tell you? You potentially have 5 of the 10 highest running backs. You have 5 of the 10 highest flex scoring players. If I were your league mates, I would have checked out a long time ago. That's ridiculous. Now, Mystic says, thank you, Mason. What do you think I should try to trade for then? Been watching you since last year and appreciate all the tips. Now, thank you so much for supporting the channel, my friend. And if you are wanting to trade the combo of Kenneth Walker as well as Mike Evans and you want a wide receiver in return, I think you need a truly elite level name. I think you need Tyreek. I think you need Jefferson. I think you need Stephon Diggs. If we're giving up both Kenneth Walker, who I believe is a top 10 running back rest of season, as well as Mike Evans, who I still think is a low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2, that's the price point we're looking for, my friend. Now, Green Blocker says, the team is 6-5. We're 4th place in a 10-team league. 6 teams make the playoffs. Herbert, Watson at quarterback. Running back, we have Kamara, Walker, White, Foreman. Wide receiver, we have Chase, Evans, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Christian Watson, Keenan Allen, Garrett Wilson. Tight end, we have Mark Andrews. Any moves? I mean, I'll repeat what we've been saying. I mean, if we could go through and look to move off of Deontay Foreman, I think that would be very nice. The issue with Deontay Foreman is what we said all week last week with a ton of different names. You can be a running back in a bad offense. You can be a running back that doesn't catch the ball, but you can't be both. You can't be a running back that doesn't catch a ball in a bad offense because at that point, the upside just simply isn't there. So if we could take Deontay Foreman and package him with Jamar Chase and not Jamar Chase, go package him with Christian Watson and get an upgrade at either the wide receiver or running back position, I would really like that. Like if we can go Deontay Foreman and Christian Watson and go get Keenan Allen to stack with Justin Herbert rest of season, sign me up for it. with Christian Watson, you already have Keenan Allen, but a wide receiver in that range. With Christian Watson, a name that I loved last week, but now if we're going to get Romeo Doubs back soon, if he only had 6 targets a week ago and Allen Lazard had 11, probably a pretty easy spot for us to go through and look to sell high. Okay, now our next question coming out from Ethan says, 10-1 in an 18 PPR format. Been offered Debo for Lamar. We have Watson and Amari. Is this good value for Lamar Jackson, or should I ask for more? You need to ask for more, my friend. I mean, I know that we have Deshaun Watson. It's a 10-1 team. We're only thinking about the fantasy football playoffs, and Deshaun Watson has the upside to be an elite level quarterback during that stretch. But still, at the same time, I mean, I understand that Deebo Samuel was good this past week. The San Francisco 49ers scored 5 touchdowns. You had 0 touchdowns going to Christian McCaffrey. I'm no mathematician, but I think it's safe to say that most weeks Christian McCaffrey will score more than 0 touchdowns. In most weeks, the San Francisco 49ers are going to be scoring fewer than 5 touchdowns. So I think we have some regression coming in for someone like Deebo Samuel, for someone like Brandon Ayuk. I'm not going to be selling Lamar for Deebo. Now, the Beat Farmer says, AJ, Nuke, Adams, and Amari are my wide receivers. What are your thoughts? You have a phenomenal wide receiver core, my friend. What do you want me to say? I mean, this is just a great team. And Bobcat says, in a super flex, would you start Mac Jones or Taylor Heineke? Also, how do you approach trading my late 2023 first for a first next year? Like, what could I get if I were to give up something? Okay, so let me answer the first question. If we're looking at Mac Jones versus Taylor Heineke, I think this week you got to go Taylor Heineke, right? I mean, Mac Jones, we can make the argument it's a better quarterback, maybe a better long-term option in fantasy, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, when Mac Jones going up against the Minnesota Vikings this week, and you have, Taylor Heineke going up against the Atlanta Falcons, we probably need to go through and we probably need to run it with Mr. Taylor Heineke. And if we're trading away our late 2023 first for another first round pick, I am sorry, my man. This is a very difficult question to answer. I mean, I don't necessarily know what pick we're going to be trading for. I don't know what we have on our roster. The last thing I want you to do, though, is go through and say, okay, I have a team. My team's better than this guy's. I think I'm going to get the 112. I think that I'm going to win the league. And I think this guy's going to get bounced in the first round of the playoffs. And then all of a sudden we go out there and we trade our future first. And Chris Godwin to go get their future first. And we end up getting bounced first round of the playoffs. And they end up being the 112. So it's just so difficult to answer without having specifics with that question. I'm sorry, my friend. And Christian says, in a 10-team full PPR format where we're 9-2, my new roster is Herbert, CMC, Barkley, Hopkins, Chase, Schultz, Stevenson, Amari, and then we have Deshaun Watson as a backup quarterback, Garrett Wilson, Rachaad White, and 3 bench spots. My top opponent's putting up 180 points the last couple of weeks. Am I okay? Yes. When we get Jamar Chase back here long term, who the hell is beating this team? I don't give a damn how many points the other team's putting up. You have CMC, Saquon Barkley. You have 2 top 5 running backs. Hopkins, Chase, 2 top 5 receivers. Another low-end RB1 with Ramondre Stevenson. Another low-end wide receiver 1 with Amari. You're completely fine. And we have the elite level quarterback play. Now, Talent says we have Walker, JT, Wilson at running back. Amon-Ra, Waddle, wide receiver. Should I trade Herbert and Pollard for Lamar Jackson? We have White, A.J. Dillon as a bench running backs, and Garrett Wilson and Kadarius Toney. So you don't need to start Tony Pollard. Like, you don't need to start Tony Pollard. But, at the same time, if we're looking at the value that he currently has, I'm not excited to trade him away, right? Like, I would rather hold Tony Pollard if all else is equal. I think we have to keep Justin Herbert and Tony Pollard. Versus Lamar Jackson. If we're looking at Lamar, I do think he gets better rest of season. He still has the rushing upside, but Herbert should get better as well, considering the fact that he is getting Keenan Allen back in, and now his two top options aren't going to be Joshua Palmer and Gerald Everett. Now, Gregory coming out, thank you, my friend, says, running back, we got to choose three. We have Najee, Montgomery, Jeff Wilson Jr., the first three. Jamal, Latavius Murray. Yeah, we're going to choose the first three. I think Jamal Williams is very exciting, but with someone like Jeff Wilson Jr., he just has such a good matchup going up against the Houston Texans that I think we have to start him over Jamal this week. And then at receiver, we have to start one between Christian Watson, Treylon Burks, or Paris Campbell. We are going to go ahead. We are going to take Christian Watson here, my friend. Like I said, I do think that Christian Watson's potentially a sell-high guy. Depending on the value that we could get, just given the fact that Romeo Doubs maybe won't be back this week, but he'll possibly be back the week following. And then you're going to have so many cooks in the kitchen here, and the kitchen's not making the best food, so... Yeah, so I think we're probably going to go ahead and start Christian Watson. I still don't think we change our stance on maybe selling him high. Now, Motley says, Mace, we're going to go Treylon Burks or Zay Jones moving forward. Easily Treylon Burks. Like, why the hell would we roster Zay Jones? Like, maybe Zay Jones projects to be slightly better from a median projection standpoint. But can something ever happen for Zay Jones to win your fantasy league? I would say no. I would say nothing's ever going to happen for Zay Jones to literally win you your league. Whereas, hell, I mean, I wouldn't be that shocked. I wouldn't be that surprised if all of a sudden, I mean, Treylon Burks becomes a top 24 wide receiver down the stretch. He had the prospect profile coming in, looked very good on Thursday night. We're going to go Burks. Now, E. Husker says we traded Jamal Higgins, Tyler Conklin, and the Patriots defense for Saquon, so we get a massive upgrade from Jamal Williams to Saquon Barkley. DeAndre Hopkins, so we get a massive upgrade from T. Higgins to DeAndre Hopkins. We moved from Tyler Conklin to Hayden Hurst. Who the hell cares? We moved from the Patriots defense to the Vikings defense. Who the hell cares? Yeah, go get the upgrade. Go get Saquon Barkley and DeAndre Hopkins. That's phenomenal, my friend. Now, real quick, we are 2 likes away from hitting 200 likes on this live stream. Please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on the stream. It looks like about half of y'all have done it. And also, I've never seen this before, so I'm going to be annoying with this over the next couple days because I need you to take advantage. Underdog has both a free bet on Thanksgiving with Saquon Barkley. On top of this, a boosted payout bet for parlays with Dak Prescott. I've never seen them have both in the same week. Usually we're lucky to have one of these in an individual month. It's free money sitting out there. Make sure you go take advantage of it. You can find the link in the live chat, find the link in the description, find the link in the comment section. When you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Available in damn near every state. Make sure you're taking advantage of that. Deposit $10, immediately have 20 in your account, and then go at $20 on the Saquon Barkley, more than half a rushing yard. Now, Lewis says, hey, Mason, 12-team PPR format, 7-4. Quarterback, we have Mahomes, Watson. Wide receiver, we have Jefferson, Waddle, Higgins, Burks. Running back, we have Jacobs, Walker, Connor, Pacheco, White, Dobbins. Tight end, we have Kelsey. Would you package together Connor and Waddle for Tyreek? Thank you. Oh, my gosh. Thank you for supporting the channel, my friend. I mean, if we were moving off of James Conner, we're still starting Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker every week. We have depth at running back as well. So it's a move that we could make if we really wanted to. Can y'all please let me know, what would you do in the live chat? We have 500 people. Let's get 500 messages. Would you rather have the combo of Jalen Waddle and James Conner? James Conner operating as the 3-down bell cow in Arizona. Or Tyreek Hill, who currently is leading the NFL in receiving? Would you rather have Waddle and James Conner or Tyreek Hill? You have running back depth. James Conner right now is your running back 3 on your roster. Let me see what y'all are saying. Okay, we got a lot of people saying Tyreek. I would 100% agree. I think that if you were playing in a 10-team league, if you were playing in an 8-team league, if you were playing in a league with only one flex spot, Let's go with the stud. Let's go with Tyreek Hill. However, if we are playing in a deeper format where it's a 12-team contest, where you have to start multiple flex plays every week, then at that point, maybe we pivot over with the package. I think that would be exciting. If, and I repeat, big if, we're playing in that specific format, but when in doubt, just go with the stud, especially as we're through the majority of bye weeks now. Now, Brandon Cole, always happy to see you out, says, most points, but 9th out of 14th. Needed 7 from MVS and Mike Williams. Oh, my gosh. Deadline pass, running backs are Najee and Hunt. Must win. We got to start 4 receivers. Chase, yes. Tyreek, yes. Mike Williams, Hollywood Brown, George Pickens, and MVS. I think we're probably going to plan on going Hollywood and Pickens because I am very worried about the Mike Williams injury. If Mike Williams were to play, we'll pivot over from George Pickens to Mike Williams. But I think we have to plan right now on going Chase, Hill, Hollywood, Pickens. But honestly, we may not have a choice. If we get a surprise that Jamar Chase misses, that Hollywood Brown misses, then we may end up having to play Marcus Valdes-Scantling. Now, Santi coming out again says, my wide receivers are Godwin, Debo, A.J. Brown, and Pittman. Trying to upgrade from DeAndre Swift. Would you do any of them in Swift for Cook or Kamara? I would do Pittman. If we could go Pittman, Swift, and go get Dalvin Cook or Alvin Kamara, I would do it. I view Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara very similarly rest of season. I think it is going to be up to you with who you want between those two guys. Now, 217 Frags coming out says, trade Kelsey and Lamb for Swift, Schultz, and Adams. So Kelsey to Adams, massive downgrade, or pretty big downgrade. And Lamb to Schultz and Swift, pretty big downgrade. I would say no. Let's keep Kelsey and Lamb. We have Hurts, Dalvin, Stevenson, especially if we have Dalvin Stevenson. You don't need a running back. Lamb, Diggs, Kelsey, and no flex. This would give me a flex, but it's risky. What do you think? I mean, we've been saying that DeAndre Swift has rest of season upside. And I don't know if I can keep saying it. Like, he's literally the running back 3 in Detroit right now. He's playing behind Justin Jackson. So no, my friend, I think you got to keep Kelsey. I mean, Kelsey looks like the true league winner. Now, Haji coming out with a massive dono. Thank you so much. Says, should I be worried about Lamar? I'd say from a real life perspective, yes. From a fantasy perspective, probably not. Team is Lamar, JT, Walker, Lamb, Evans, Amon-Ra, Kittle, and then the flex is David Montgomery. Down there in the bench, we have Hollywood, Rashad White, Rondale Moore, Christian Watson, Jerry Jeudy. Someone is Watson on the bench and offered me a trade for CeeDee Lamb. Yeah. I mean, this is the issue with being worried about Lamar Jackson. Like, if you want to ask, should we lower our expectations from where they were before the season? Should we lower our expectations from where they were like week 3? Yeah, we probably should. We should lower our expectations. I don't think Lamar Jackson is going to be the quarterback 1 again, but I mean, you are in a spot where if we're giving up CeeDee Lamb for Deshaun Watson, like, we don't even know if Deshaun Watson would be better than Lamar Jackson. And we would just immediately have a massive downgrade at wide receiver. So I'd say no, my friend. Like, yeah, maybe you lower your expectations on Lamar a little bit, but in reality, we don't do anything from it. Now, the Beat Farmer says, quarterbacks Brady. We have Watson as well. Etienne, Kamara, Pollard with Dalton Schultz in a 12-team PPR format. Thanks for all the advice on a 7-game winning streak. Thanks to you. No, my friend, it looks like you're on a 7-game winning streak due to the combo of Etienne and Tony Pollard. That's not on us at all. That's all on you. So let me go ahead. Let me pull up the initial question. Congrats on the win streak. I am very happy for you, my friend. And okay, so that explains it. We're also on that 7-game win streak because we have Amari Cooper and DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, and Devontae Adams. A phenomenal team, my man. Really happy for you. Now, DB says, Dak and Lamb for Amon-Ra St. Brown and Deshaun Watson. We have Lamar Jackson. Yeah, go get. You know what? let's keep Dak and Lamb. Maybe. I mean, maybe if they weren't together, then it would be different, but I really like to just have that stack. Let's keep the stack in Dallas. Colin says trade Mixon and Hawkinson for Devontae Adams and Antonio Gibson. Starting lineup would be Tua, Kamara, Walker, Diggs, Chase, Adams, Schultz, and the Texans D in a PPR format. So I'd rather have Adams over Mixon rest of season. If we have Schultz at tight end, I'm fine if you wanted to go out there and get Antonio Gibson to backfill in for Joe Mixon. So yeah, let's go get Devontae Adams and Antonio Gibson. I mean, Devontae Adams does look like that just locked and loaded wide receiver, getting you 100 total yards each and every week. And I mean, Antonio Gibson's very exciting now that you have J.D. McKissic out of this offense. I mean, the man played like 68% of the snaps. Now, Caden says, in a 10-team full PPR format, we have Fields, Chubb, Najee, Devontae Adams, T. Higgins, David Njoku, Keenan Allen, Drake London, Cordell Patterson, Odell Beckham Jr. Any moves we should make in case Fields misses, etc. Love the streams. Thank you, my friend. I truly do appreciate it. And if we were looking to make any moves, I mean, I don't see a sell high name. Like, if we could maybe move like Odell Beckham Jr. and just get a quarterback that way. If you could move like Odell Beckham Jr. and Cordell Patterson and bring in maybe Tua Tagovailoa just in case Justin Fields misses, then sure. It's nice as Justin Fields plays on Sunday, though, so we should have a little bit more time to actually go through and recoup. I feel like the Bears usually play on Thursday. I mean, on Thanksgiving, right? And Skull says, are we dropping Tony? Our wide receivers are Higgins, Lamb, Rondale, and Jameson. If you have someone like Latavius Murray on the waiver wire, I think you drop Tony for Latavius Murray. John says, trade Jones, Ramondre, or Cook with the receiver for Jonathan Taylor. Depends on the wide receiver, but if it's someone like George Pickens, then hell yeah. I think you trade a running back and George Pickens for Jonathan Taylor. Now, Johnny says, the man, hope all is well. PPR need a flex. Starters are Hurts, Tyreek, Adams, Saquon, Kamara, Frymuth. Do we rock with Swift, Myers, or Christian Watson at the flex spot? Thank you so much for supporting the channel, my friend. I truly do appreciate it. What's going to be difficult is with Jacoby Myers. He plays on Thursday, so we're going to have to make this decision by then. I'm telling you right now, we're not starting DeAndre Swift. I refuse to do it, especially on Thanksgiving. Like, if we were going to be looking at DeAndre Swift, he played behind Justin Jackson this past week. Justin Jackson played more snaps than him. So I think Swift's not even a thought here. If it looks like Romeo Doubs going to miss whenever we have to make that decision on Thursday, then we will go ahead. We will play Christian Watson. If it looks like Romeo Doubs may surprise some people, and if he's at practice on Thursday and he may play this weekend, then I think we take the safe option with Jacoby Myers. I think you're going to plan on going ahead and playing Christian Watson. Now, Steve says, don't know who to put in the flex. Connor, Damien Pierce, Christian Watson, or Jeff Wilson. I think that Jeff Wilson Jr. is very appealing going up against the Houston Texans, but I'm probably going to go James Conner. James Conner has a very good matchup as well against the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, KWC says Ramondre for Amari for the flex spot. When in doubt, I think these two players are comparable, but I am going to be going in the direction of the running back, knowing how many running back injuries that we've had this season. Oscar says full PPR, Jamal or Singletary, thanks. So thank you. I think we have to go with Jamal Williams. You hate the matchup going up against the Buffalo Bills, but the man's coming off 3 freaking touchdowns. Now, Avis says, sup man, 8-3 projected to win it all. Hell yes. Pick 2 to start. We need 1 running back and 1 flex. Other running backs, Henry. We're looking at Kamara, Aaron Jones, Sanders, Najee, Waddle. Thanks, man. No, thank you so much for supporting the channel. And I will say real quick, you got to go with Jalen Waddle in that flex spot. Waddle going up against the Houston Texans. I am very excited about that. I mean, if you're looking at where we have these running backs ranked this week, I have these guys in a very similar range. We have Alvin Kamara at running back 12. I have Aaron Jones at running back 13. Both of them have very tough matchups against the 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, we have Najee Harris at running back 15. They're all in the same tier. I mean, I am going to go Kamara, assuming that it's a full PPR format. If it were not a full PPR league, and maybe instead it's a non-PPR format, then we'd pivot over and probably go Najee Harris. Now, Ethan says, been offered Cook and Debo for Lamar. Is that now better? Yes, trading away Lamar Jackson if you really want to and getting Dalvin Cook and Debo Samuel, I think will be acceptable. I just don't think, I mean, the first trade where you would have been just trading away Lamar for Debo, it wouldn't have been close. Now, Brandon coming out again. Brandon, let me go ahead and make you a moderator in this live stream. You're out here constantly, so thank you so much. Of course, you don't have to do anything if you don't want to if you're a moderator, but if you do see someone spamming the chat over and over again, you can feel free to hit put user and timeout. Says running back 2 in a 10-team half PPR format. We have Pierce, Pacheco, DeAndre Swift, Rashad White, or Melvin Gordon. I mean, you know, I'm not a massive Damien Pierce guy with Damien Pierce this week. You don't like the matchup against the Miami Dolphins. I mean, it's not the worst matchup in the world, but you'd rather avoid it if possible. I think you probably got to go Damien Pierce, though. I mean, if we are looking at Pierce, he's still getting the volume. Still talented. Like DeAndre Swift, running back 3 in his offense. Rashad White, a backup running back. Isaiah Pacheco won't catch the ball at all. Michael Carter is playing on the Jets. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's take Damien Pierce. Now, Michael Garcia says, first time on the live chat. Welcome, my friend. We now have Lamar, Tua, CMC, JT, Jefferson, Amon-Ra, Greg Dulcich in our starting lineup. 7-4, just lost my first matchup by 4 points. Any changes? I mean, if your trade deadline's not passed and you really wanted to make a trade, I think that this is a team that could afford to trade away Tua Tagovailoa. Tua is phenomenal, but if it's a 4-point passing touchdown format where we're incentivized to go all in on rushing upside, I don't know how excited we would be about going through and starting Tua Tagovailoa over Lamar Jackson. I don't know if we would ever do that. So if we could trade Tua Tagovailoa as well as our current tight end and go get a possible buy low tight end, maybe the Mark Andrews owner is super frustrated. I mean, he would have to be absurdly frustrated for us to pull it off. But if we could pull off a trade like that, that would be very exciting. Inside of that, my friend, I mean, it is an interesting spot. Because you are obviously so dominant at wide receiver and running back. But Jeremiah says, start 3, Evans, Olave, Amari, Keenan, Pittman, and Hollywood Brown. I think you go with the first 3. I think we're going to go Evans, Olave, Amari. I'm very excited about Keenan Allen rest of season. Maybe we bump him up a bit here if Mike Williams is confirmed out this game. But yeah, I think the first 3. Easy answer. Now, real quick, what's also very easy is the biggest... And I repeat, biggest offer Underdog's ever done, at least in my knowledge. I can't remember anything bigger than this. For Thanksgiving, they have the free Saquon Barkley line, and then they also have a boosted Dak Prescott line. Go take advantage of this. It's literal free money. I mean, also, when you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. You can find the link in the live chat. I know 99% of y'all have already signed up, though. So mainly, I'm just telling everybody who's already on Underdog, make sure you pull up the app and make sure you go take advantage of that free money there on Thanksgiving. Very, very thankful that Underdog was able to get us this. And if you aren't on Underdog, available in damn near every state, like we said, you can find that link in the comment section in the live chat in the description. Now, Ooks Oates says, in a 10-team PPR format, 8-2, Barkley and Schultz for Mark Andrews. Running backs are JT, CMC, Kenneth Walker. What do you think? I think it makes sense where if you have those running backs, that combo of those 4 names, and you have probably the best running back core ever assembled, to go through and sell one of those running backs if we're going to get someone that we really like in return. If we're going to be able to go through and get a Mark Andrews, then yes. But trading away Saquon Barkley is too much. I'd make the argument Barkley himself has more value than Mark Andrews. So if you wanted to make a deal like this, you'd be trading away Kenneth Walker, not Saquon Barkley. Now, Joe coming out, thank you, says, yo, Mason, happy early Turkey Day. Happy Thanksgiving, my man. 8-3 in a 12-team happy BR format. Any moves? Quarterback, we have Tua and Watson. Love that combo. Running back, we have Jacobs, Henry, J-Rob. Wide receiver, we have Diggs, Amari, Lockett, Garrett Wilson, Treylon Burks. Tight end, we have Mark Andrews. Nope, we're not doing anything. I mean, we have every position on lock. A very well-balanced roster. No clear sell high candidates. I'm sorry, I'm trying to come up with something here for you, my friend. I think that Mark Andrews will be much better going forward than what he's been, especially when we have no Rashad Bateman here rest of season. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know this is not helpful in the slightest, but you're 8-3 for a reason. You have a phenomenal roster, my friend. I think we're rolling as is. Now, our next question coming out from Mamadou says, start Jeff Wilson Jr. over Damien Pierce in a full PPR formats. If you're looking at our rankings, I have Jeff Wilson Jr. and Damien Pierce ranked back-to-back. I have Damien Pierce running back 17 this week. Jeff Wilson Jr. ranked running back 18. Obviously, Jeff Wilson Jr. has the much better matchup going up against the Houston Texans, but Raheem Mostert still is getting some involvement. I have them ranked back-to-back, so it is going to be up to you. I think it's a very interesting call because obviously you're betting on the talent versus the offense. I mean, right now, Miami, I believe, is favored by 12 points in this contest. Now, Devin says, in first place, 8-3, we have Hurts, Dalvin, Walker, Lamb, Kirk, Godwin, Kittle, Jeff Wilson Jr., Rashad White, Isaiah Pacheco, Jamison Williams, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Alexander Madison. How are we looking this week? Are we going to go Kirk over Godwin at wide receiver 2, and then Jeff Wilson Jr. over Godwin in the flex? I would say probably yes and yes to that. I don't hate the matchup by any means for Chris Godwin going up against the Buffalo Bills. It's more like, I mean, we just got to be really excited about these other names, especially Jeff Wilson Jr. in that beautiful matchup that we have going up against the Houston Texans. I mean, if we're breaking down this team, we're 8-3 for a reason. We have the elite quarterback. We have the elite tight ends. We have all the running back depth in the world. We have the long-term upside here with Rashad White, Jamison Williams, Donovan Peoples-Jones down there on the bench. Instead of rostering a backup quarterback, instead of rostering a backup tight end, we're focusing in on running backs that are possibly an injury away that if things were to break right, they could win us our league. Like Alexander Madison, love it, my friend. And Brandon says, so you like Brown and Mike Williams over George Pickens as long as active? Yes. I don't know if I can trust Mike. If both go active, would you play Hollywood or Mike Williams in a full PPR format? Also, Njoku over Everett. Thank you. No, thank you for supporting the channel. I'd say yes to Njoku over Everett if we have Mike Williams and Keenan Allen both playing. And regarding Hollywood versus Mike Williams, if both were to be active and Rondale Moore ends up missing, I think you probably end up going in the direction of Hollywood Brown. If both were to be active, Rondale Moore misses, I think we probably end up going Hollywood. And then if we're going to be looking at, what was the other question? Yeah, Njoku versus Everett. It really just does come down to the health of the pass catchers in Los Angeles. Because obviously, Everett did have a very strong stretch there, but I think that was mainly fueled off of the fact that there was just nobody else in that offense. Okay, so now our next question coming out from, I believe, Low Key, who says, in a 10-team full PPR format, we have Mahomes, Walker, Mixon, Montgomery, Pollard, Pacheco. And then at wide receiver, we have Higgins, Godwin, Debo, Davis, Smith. Tight end, we have Andrews. It's a single flex, 2 wide receiver league. Any moves? I mean, if this is the format, you have so much wide receiver depth here that I think it makes so much sense if we could go ahead and package together 2 of these names and just get an upgrade at the wide receiver position. Like if we could go Debo Samuel and Gabriel Davis and go get a wide receiver like CeeDee Lamb that you maybe like a little bit more, I think that would be phenomenal. I would love to get the Kelsey stack with Mahomes, but that's just not going to be a possibility anymore. Now, Alex says, hey, Mason, love the stream. Got offered Olave, Amari Komet for Etienne, Lockett, and Watson. We have CMC, Pollard, Williams, Juju, Palmer, Dawson Knox, Angelo, Everett. What are your thoughts? So going ETN to Olave, pretty big downgrade, even if we have CMC and Pollard. Going from Lockett to Amari, slight step up. Going from Watson to Kmet, I think Kmet's nothing special. I think Kmet's the same as Dawson Knox. You're just relying on the touchdown. So I would keep ETN, my friend. I understand why you would want to do it whenever we have these top-end RBs and you don't necessarily need ETN, but just because you don't need them, it doesn't mean we should be trading them away at a discount. Now, Trevor says, continuing dynasty, trade DJ Moore, Juju, Jacobs, and a future first for Diggs and Barkley. Thanks. Now, thank you for supporting the channel. So Juju has a 1-year contract with KC. Have no idea what situation he'll be in next year. I think you have to give him a pretty big discount in dynasty. Jacobs, not under contract next year. You have to give him a discount. DJ Moore, sadly, is under contract in what looks to be one of the worst situations in the NFL. So, yeah, assuming that you're that contending team that you trade for Diggs and Barkley, and this makes you win your league, so that 2023 first is going to be very late, I think we can pull the trigger. Now, Amari says, PBR roster, we have Fields and Herbert and Brady. Running back, we have Walker, Stevenson, Gibson, Harris. Wide receiver, we have Waddle, Myers, Mike Williams. Tight end, we have Kelsey. Should I shop any players? Yes, you need to shop a quarterback, my friend. I don't think we can be rostering 3 quarterbacks in a 1 QB league. All 3 of these guys have a decent amount of value. If we can go through and trade away maybe Justin Fields and say Jacoby Myers at wide receiver 2, and then go get Amon-Ra St. Brown and go get Devontae Adams and go get CeeDee Lamb, I'd really like that. Now, Daniel says, start a wide receiver flex. Any other player. Evans, Amon-Ra, Keenan, Montgomery, Jamal. Also, start Dak or wait it out with Kyler. I think you got to start Dak this week over Kyler. I'd rather have Kyler rest of season, but Dak this week. I mean, I would be surprised if they rush Kyler back before the bye. I mean, they're not playing for nothing at this point. Watch every day. Thank you, my friend. Team 7-1. I mean, I think that we probably go ahead. I think that we probably play the combo of, I kind of want to get David Montgomery in here. If you're going to Montgomery going up against the Jets, not the best matchup in the world, but the workload is just so damn good. I think we go Amon-Ra St. Brown and Montgomery. St. Brown, tough matchup against the Bills. They should get blown out, but that's going to make the Detroit Lions be forced to go through and throw the ball. Jameson Williams not going to be playing. It wouldn't really matter too much if he was. Yeah, St. Brown just has such a safe target floor every week. And Jamal Williams will be scoring 3 touchdowns every week. Henry says, full BBR, Pickens versus Donovan Peoples-Jones versus Dalton Schultz. Start 2 of them in the flex. We're going to go with the combo of Pickens and Donovan Peoples-Jones. I'm with Dalton Schultz. I know that he's been better as of late. I mean, he has been getting volume. And for your tight end spot, you are very excited about it. But the reason for that is the average tight end scores significantly less than the average wide receiver. I mean, as a rule of thumb, I think starting the fewest amount of tight ends as possible is always a pretty good idea. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from Eat More says, we have 2 trade offers, Chubb for Jamar Chase, then Waddle, Dillon for Higgins and Najee. Oh, I definitely take the Higgins and Najee side. And you know I'm a big Waddle fanboy. We have JT, Kamara, Diggs, Chase, Najee, Higgins, Mitchell, Rashad White, Isaiah Pacheco. Okay, let's go with, assuming it's a full PPR format, where we already have these solid RBs. Let's go with Chase, and then let's also go with Higgins and Najee Harris over Waddle and A.J. Dillon. I love me some Waddle, but also if we go with both of those Cincinnati wide receivers, we are getting that correlation in the lineup where, we are making that one consolidated bet, which I really like. Now, Juan says, currently 8-3 in a 10-team league, just traded Keenan, Jamal, and Dak for Patrick Mahomes. 10-team league, phenomenal trade. Still have Adams, Kelsey, so we get the Mahomes, Kelsey stack. CMC and ETN, what are your thoughts? Traded earlier in the season for CMC, and somebody dropped a tight end. I love it, my friend. I love it. Especially in a 10-team league where wide receiver running back depth is just going to be so much easier to come by. Where at the end of the day, it's probably a pretty good idea for us to just go through and get the best player we possibly can. I think that best player is going to be Travis Kelce. And Patrick Mahomes, like getting them stacked up, bringing Mahomes to a Kelce team, I just love. Now, Patrick says, only guys on the waiver wire I'm interested in are Latavius Murray and Darius Slayton. Latavius Murray is by far and away a better option than Darius Slayton. Just quick side note. What are your thoughts on those players? My running backs are Stevenson, Jeff Wilson Jr., Michael Carter. Should I drop Michael Carter for Latavius Murray? I think that Michael Carter is a better running back than Latavius Murray. I don't think that's going to be arguable. However, if you're looking at the fact that he's going to be splitting the backfield with James Robinson, I would be fine going Latavius Murray over Michael Carter. Could y'all please let me know in the live chat if you think I'm losing my mind? Can you please let me know in the live chat? Would you rather have Michael Carter or Latavius Murray rest of season? We have 500 people out here. Can we get 500 messages? I'd be very interested. And yeah, don't be dropping anybody for Darius Slayton if Latavius Murray is available. Everybody in the chat saying Latavius Murray as well. I mean, it's the combo of Chase Edmonds getting injured and then Melvin Gordon getting waived. Like, that either tells us that they're completely punting on the season or that they have faith in Latavius Murray. It's probably a combo of both. Anthony says, Mason, it's time for the push. Need 2 flexes. I'm going up against number 1, Pierce, Latavius, Myers, or Donovan Peoples-Jones. We also have Swift and Hollywood. Thank you. No, thank you so much for being a long-time member of the flock, my man. And you know, I've been saying for a while now, sell high on Damien Pierce. He doesn't catch the ball. He's in a horrendous offense, blah, blah, blah. But we're still starting Damien Pierce here. I mean, compared to the other players that we have, I mean, compared to Latavius, but compared to Myers, you still got to go ahead and take him. We just know that he's going to get damn near every touch out of this backfield. We've seen the spike weeks even in tough matchups going up against like the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's go ahead and take him. Now, who cares says, Njoku or Cole Kmet, and should we drop Rondale Moore for Treylon Burks? I'd be fine dropping Rondale for Treylon Burks with Rondale Moore injured and also Hollywood Brown coming back in. And then Njoku versus Kmet is a very interesting question. I think Njoku's probably the better call rest of season. I know Kmet had a small little stretch of games where he was scoring touchdowns, where people thought he had upside, but no, the passing volume is just non-existent in that offense. Patrick says, for Slayton, I'll probably need one more wide receiver for week 14 when I have Lazard and Olave out. We have Myers, Ayuk, Keenan, but not sure if Allen's. Yeah, no, don't drop any of these guys to pick up Darius Slayton. I understand the thought process, but you're still going to be able to make a waiver wire move in week 14. And I would rather have Lazard. I'd rather have Olave. I'd rather have Myers, Ayuk, and Keenan all over Darius Slayton. Now, Angel says, in a 10-team full PPR format, we're 9-2. We have Burrow, Jacobs, Etienne, Adams, Brown, CMC in the flex spot, and then Mark Andrews at tight end. Down there in the bench, we have Walker, Tony, White. We need wide receivers. Who can we target on the waiver wire, and are there any changes? So, I mean, Treylon Burks will be one of the best waiver wire tight ends, in my opinion. If we could get Treylon Burks, there's a chance that he was picked up 2-3 weeks ago. You could always go Darius Slayton, but the issue is if you pick up Darius Slayton, you're not going to be able to start him this week, given the very tough matchup he has going up against the Dallas Cowboys. So I think Treylon Burks is the main guy that we're going to be looking up for the waiver wire. And in terms of making any changes in this starting lineup, my friend, I don't see anything. I mean, I would love to get Kenneth Walker in, but Kenneth Walker versus Etienne versus Jacobs versus CMC, it's going to be tough because Kenneth Walker's going up against the Raiders. You know what? I will play Kenneth Walker over Travis Etienne. Now, Chase says Kyler or Justin Fields this week. If Justin Fields is active, you probably need to go Justin Fields. But of course, you're going to have to monitor both injuries. Now, who cares? Says Paris Campbell, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Joshua Palmer, pick 2 in a standard league. I mean, you still have Paris Campbell being flooded with targets since Matt Ryan's returned. But I'm still probably going to go Donovan Peoples-Jones and Joshua Palmer. I don't know what it is, but I'm just having a hard time buying into the wide receiver 2 for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, Baby Cal says we have Kyler and Deshaun Watson, Barkley, Walker, JT, Lamb, Olave. Would you trade Walker and Lamb for Diggs and David Montgomery, or try to upgrade tight end and quarterback? Ooh. Very interesting. I'm trying to sit here and think. I think we would. If it's a full PPR format, David Montgomery does get targeted out of the backfield. Stephon Diggs is a clear upgrade over CeeDee Lamb. I love Kenneth Walker. He's my second most drafted running back in fantasy this year. I think we probably pulled the trigger there. So close. So yeah, let's go get Diggs. Now, we have Storm coming out, says, what's up, Mason? Love being a part of the flock. Flock community is amazing. I'm happy to have you, my friend. Sit to Barkley, Chase, Debo, Dalvin, Aaron Jones, Jeff Wilson, and A.J. Brown. Never mind, my friend. I may not be happy to have you. What kind of question is this? How the hell am I supposed to sit 2 of these players? Oh, my gosh. I'm going to bench Debo. Debo, I have to give him his props. Phenomenal Monday night game. I mean, everybody on the 49ers got there. With the 49ers, they scored 5 touchdowns. And Christian McCaffrey scored 0 of those. Like I said earlier in the live stream, I'm not a mathematician. I'm really an idiot. But one thing that I do know is the 49ers will probably score fewer than 5 touchdowns going forward. And CMC will probably start scoring a touchdown in most games. So I do think that Deebo Samuel takes a small hit. It was a great matchup against Arizona as well. So if we had to bench someone here, let's bench Deebo. And then our other guy, oh my gosh. Probably Jeff Wilson, just because Mostert's still getting some involvement. But Jeff Wilson is a great matchup going up against the Houston Texans as well. I really would want to get him involved. They're 12-point favorites. God dang, that is tough. Now, Manuel says trade Pollard and Christian Watson for DeAndre Hopkins. Hell yeah, I'm doing it. Team is Hurts, Brown, Adams, Dalvin, Saquon, Etienne. So if we have Dalvin, Saquon, Etienne, are we ever starting Tony Pollard? Rashad White, Jerry Jeudy, Isaiah Pacheco, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Tight end is Hayden Hurst. Should we drop for Jawan Johnson? Yes, drop for Jawan Johnson, especially if Chase is coming back. And let's pull the trigger. Let's go get DeAndre Hopkins there. I know Tony Pollard looks phenomenal, but I mean, I think that you are going to be a little more likely to be able to actually fit DeAndre Hopkins into this stud, and I repeat, stud-filled lineup. Yeah, let's go get Hop. Now, Jeremiah says 7-4, 4-game win streak. In a full PPR league, we have Lamar, JT, Etienne, Swift, Madison, Evans, Olave, Amari, Keenan, Kittle, Trey Deontay Foreman, and Michael Pittman for Jeff Wilson. Yes. Full PPR format, Jeff Wilson's going to get involved more as a pass catcher. He's in a much, much better offense as well. I mean, we don't necessarily need Michael Pittman. We have this kind of wide receiver depth. Let's pull the trigger. Now, real quick, if you are just now coming out, I mean, we had a massive announcement. Underdog blindsided me with this today. I wish we would have known about this previously. But the biggest special week that they are ever, I can't say that with certainty, the biggest special week I can ever remember Underdog having. They're giving you a boosted payout with Dak Prescott in parlays. And on top of this, you are getting a free bet with Saquon Barkley on Thanksgiving. You got to make sure you're taking advantage of this. I know 99% of y'all are already on Underdog, so I just want to make sure that everybody knows that there's that free money sitting out there on the app. All you have to do is freaking open it up. I mean, please take advantage of it. But if you're not on Underdog yet, available in damn near every state, you can find the link in the live chat. You can find the link in the description, the link in the comment section. And when you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. So you get free money that way. Go deposit $10, automatically have 20 in your account. Go take the over on Saquon Barkley. Please go take advantage of it. Please. Now, Django says, Jeff Wilson, Miles Sanders, Curtis Samuel, Deontay. Who do we bench? If we have to only bench one player here, we bench Curtis Samuel quite easily. I rank these guys, Jeff Wilson, Miles Sanders, Deontay Johnson, Curtis Samuel. Now, Swelly Belly says, is trading Aaron Jones and Chris Godwin for Keenan Allen and David Montgomery a good move? I'd say no. I think Godwin, Keenan, relatively same. I'm about same guy. Who cares? And going from Aaron Jones to David Montgomery. I mean, David Montgomery's clear buy low candidate. I mean, with no Khalil Herbert, the man has volume. You'd still rather have Aaron Jones. Henry says, locked up the playoffs at 9-2. Is Jameson Williams worth a stash for the playoffs? He's worth a stash. Like, don't get your hopes up. Don't think, oh my gosh, we're 9-2. We have a dominant roster. We have a juggernaut. And then all of a sudden, I mean, we are going to be able to pull up Jameson Williams off the waiver wire. And he'll be a new wide receiver one for us. I don't think so, but he is worth a roster spot. Shelby says, 8-3, trade deadline's over. Any recommendations? We have Tua, Watson, Cousins, Jefferson, Waddle, Higgins, Keenan, Eckler, JT, Montgomery, Etienne, Sanders, Mark Andrews. One win over the second place spot. So trade deadline's over. Really, the only recommendations we could have are waiver wire pickups. If we're looking at the worst guy on this team, the first player I'd look to cut, Kirk Cousins. We already have Tua Tagovailoa, Deshaun Watson. I don't necessarily see what we have with Kirk Cousins. So if it's a league where we only start one quarterback, I would go ahead and drop Cousins in that. I don't necessarily know if he has the upside to go ahead and win you your league. Like, are you ever starting Kirk Cousins over Tua? Are you ever going to be starting him over Deshaun Watson in the fantasy football playoffs? Probably not. But if you were to go get someone like Alexander Madison off the waiver wire and Dalvin Cook were to go down, then all of a sudden you have a top 3 running back. All of a sudden you have someone you can jam in and does win your league. So just quick side note, I would drop the third quarterback and go pick up an extra RB. Now, Nick says, any last minute trades we should make? We have Kyler, Goff, Chubb, Jacobs, Fournette, Patterson, Jefferson, Lockett, Ayuk, Cooks, Thielen, and at tight end, we have George Kittle. I mean, we've been saying to trade away Leonard Fournette for quite some time. However, I think that the ship has sailed in regards of going through and trading him away. I think that if we were going to do something, maybe we could package Cordell Patterson and Brandon Ayuk and go get a wide receiver upgrade that way. I know Ayuk just continues to crush it every single week. I understand that. But the man had 2 receptions this past week. Like, the volume is just going to be a little difficult to come by when you have Kittle, when you have Debo, when you have CMC. I know they scored 5 touchdowns and I got 2. It's great that he had 2 receptions for 2 touchdowns. I just don't think it's going to happen forever. Now, Lavish says, would you trade Eckler for Kenneth Walker and Josh Jacobs? If it is at minimum a 12-team league where we have multiple flex spots. Yes, we would. I wouldn't do it if it was like an 8-team format with only 1 flex because Eckler is the RB1 in fantasy right now. Now, Allison says, we're 5-6, currently in 6th place in a 10-team PPR format. We have Lamar, Swift, Connor, Higbee, Waddle, Higgins, Christian Watson, Michael Pittman, Jacoby Myers, Cortland Sutton. Should I trade Stevenson or Chubb? We need a running back. Or for Stevenson or Nick Chubb. If you were going to go ahead and make a deal for Ramondre Stevenson, if we could trade away DeAndre Swift and Christian Watson and go get Ramondre Stevenson, 100%, I'm down for it. If you can trade DeAndre Swift and Cortland Sutton, go get Ramondre Stevenson, I'm down for it. We would also do the deal for Nick Chubb, of course. I think it's going to be much easier to trade for Ramadre than Chubb. Now, our next question coming out from Edwin, who says, we're 5-6 in a 10-team keeper league. I was offered Ramadre and Evans for Devontae Adams. Ooh. We have Henry, Foreman, White, so we need a running back 2. Higgins, Smith, Foster Monroe, DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson on the bench. Specifically because we don't have much depth. Specifically because, we need a running back 2. I don't want to say we're desperate for one, but we're pretty desperate for a running back 2 here. I think that we probably go ahead and pull the trigger. Stevenson, I was a little worried about what the workload was going to look like whenever you had Damien Harris coming back in. But Damien Harris came back in, didn't affect it whatsoever. So yeah, let's go. Dylan says, Underdog isn't in my state. Do you suggest moving? Okay, so if Underdog isn't in your state, you're in either Louisiana, Michigan, Nevada, Washington. We haven't done this in a while. I'm sorry. Give me a minute. Hawaii. We were in Alaska this summer, and we were able to do Underdog in Alaska. Louisiana, Nevada, Michigan, Hawaii, Washington. There's one, maybe Connecticut's the one I'm missing. There's like one of them up in the Northeast. But yeah, if you're in one of those states, unless it's Hawaii, if you're in Hawaii, you can stay there. I'm sure you're crying every day because you don't have Underdog, but at least you're crying on a beach, unless you're crying on a beach. And of course, if you want to check out these player props, Underdog has never had 2 specials like this that I can remember in the same week. I know 99% of y'all are already on there, so just make sure you pull up your app, go take advantage. But to the 1% that isn't, you can still do it, not too late. Find the link in the comment section, find the link in the description. Sign up with promo code FLOCK. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Now, Max says, Allen, Pacheco in Bills defense for Lamar in the Niners defense. We'll probably package Pittman in for a running back 2. Running back 2s on my team are Swift and Pacheco right now. So going from the Niners defense to the Bills defense, who cares? Going from Lamar to Allen, you're getting a clear upgrade. Yeah, if you really wanted to go ahead and just get a running back 2 upgrade at the moment, let's go get Josh Allen. And actually, no, you have the Allen side. Let's keep Josh Allen here, my friend. I think Lamar, you don't want to panic on him. But we need to clearly admit that Josh Allen's going to be a better option. It hasn't been the same since Bateman's been removed. Now, real quick, we are 1 like away from hitting 400 likes in the stream. Please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on the live stream. Help us get to 400. Now, Anthony says, my team is super stacked to the point where I need to sit Amon-Ra St. Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, or A.J. Brown. Should I trade to give up or hedge my bets and hold the lineup? If you have like a really big hole where maybe you're missing a tight end, if we could trade like A.J. Brown and go get Mark Andrews, let's do it. But having these elite level wide receivers is a good problem to have. It really is, because you were just locked and loaded with such a high floor any given week. Now, Kainoa says, in a 14-team non-PPR 10-point bonus league, team is set. We're playing Herbert, Lamb, Amon-Ra, Derrick Henry, Miles Sanders, Najee, Kittle every week, with Jacoby Myers as a backup. Should I be worried about Herbert, Sanders, and Kittle the rest of the season? Hard to say you should be worried about Kittle with what just happened, but I will say you don't necessarily want George Kittle to be in a position where, you don't want to expect George Kittle to do what he did this past week every week going forward. The volume's not there. You have a lot of guys competing for targets. You shouldn't be worried, but I think you need to have reasonable expectations. With Justin Herbert, I wouldn't be worried. I know Herbert hasn't been the best this year. He hasn't lived up to expectations. But look at all the injuries to his wide receivers that you've had. I think he will be better going forward. And looking at Miles Sanders, I wouldn't be worried in a non-PPR format. I think you could be a little more concerned in a full PPR league where you don't have Jalen Hurts checking the ball down, which, of course, that is a little frustrating for those owners who have Miles Sanders in that full PPR format. But in a non-PPR league, you'll be just fine. I don't think you need to worry about it too much. Now, Justin says lineup is Hurts, Waddle, Amon-Ra, Christian Kirk, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, and we're flexing Rachaad White over Leonard Fournette this week. And we just traded Pittman and Debo for Mark Andrews. Is that a good deal? I like the Mark Andrews trade. I mean, especially if we have these wide receivers at the top. I would still play Leonard Fournette over Rachaad White. I'm really hoping that Rachaad White's the guy down the stretch. I mean, if we are looking at Rachaad White, he looks so much better before the bye. I thought that you would be in a position as well where possibly, and I repeat, just possibly, Leonard Fournette was going to miss. And then all of a sudden, Rachaad White was that top 10 running back the rest of season. The guy that was just straight up winning your league. But yeah, no, I think we play Leonard Fournette over him until we see another week. Now, Ryan says in a 12-team PPR format, we have Allen, Etienne, Pierce, Higgins, Pittman, Dulcich, Hollywood, Garrett Wilson on the bench. What positions do I look to improve / moves we look to make? We've been saying for quite some time that Damien Pierce is going to be a sell high name for me just because with Damien Pierce, I mean, obviously he's a great talent for that reason. People are so damn excited about him, but he's playing in the worst offense in the NFL, or at least the worst team in the NFL. He doesn't catch the ball out of the backfield either. So from a workload perspective, there's nothing worse that you could have in a PPR format than a running back in a horrendous offense that doesn't catch the ball. Like what upside does he have at that point? So, I mean, I would love if we could go ahead and possibly trade away Damien Pierce, package him together with someone like Garrett Wilson, and go get a running back upgrade. Go get someone like Kenneth Walker, who's in a better offense. I mean, who this past week had 8 targets, or the week before the bye. Yeah, it's just going to be harder to sell Damien Pierce now than it was previously, obviously with the bad game. Now, Pooch coming out says 7-3 in a 10-team 3-flex league, full PPR format. We have Burrow, CMC, Pierce, Swift, Edwards, White, Dobbins. And then at receiver, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown, or maybe A.J. Brown. They're about the same. T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, Keenan Allen, Jerry Jeudy, Rondale Moore. Tight end, we have Mark Andrews. Any trade ideas? I mean, I really like the fact that we have the T. Higgins stack. One thing that I'd look to do is if we are rolling with this 7-3 team where we have the T. Higgins and Joe Burrow stack, if we could possibly, get that double stack, if we could get Jamar Chase before he returns from injury, if we could go ahead and maybe trade, say, Jalen Waddle and go get Jamar Chase and go all in on the Cincinnati Bengals offense, I would really like that, my friend. I think that could be a strong move. Now, J-Max says, should I trade Chubb and Rachaad White for CeeDee Lamb and Isaiah Pacheco in a 12-team full PPR format? My current roster is Daniel Jones, CMC, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devonta Smith, Kelsey, Kenneth Walker, Darnell Mooney, Treylon Burks, George Pickens, and Deshaun Watson. Okay, so going from Rachaad White to Isaiah Pacheco, I'd rather have White. Going from Chubb to CeeDee Lamb, I'd probably rather have Chubb. I mean, even if we have CMC, Kenneth Walker on the team as is, I mean, I understand why you would look to do this. I would just say we probably don't want to. I mean, with Nick Chubb, this is a running back that struggled last week, but it was nothing to do with himself. It was just strictly based on how bad the offense was. I think going forward, you don't need to be worried, especially if Watson comes in to save this offense next week. Now, Kyle says, keep it up, man. Thank you. Should I trade Connor for Kirk or Connor and Watson for Lamb? I'd be more interested in the second deal. Just hesitant because it feels like Watson is the Amon-Ra St. Brown of this season. If Watson's the Amon-Ra St. Brown of this season, we're winning a lot of money with our best ball teams. Like, I am really hoping that's the case, but in reality, it probably isn't, my friend. In reality, I think that you're going to be in a position where Christian Watson probably trails a little bit compared to where he's been over the past 2 weeks. I think he does slow down because you're going to get Romeo Doubs back in. On top of this, Allen Lazard, had 11 targets. Christian Watson had 6. Like Christian Watson had 6 targets out of, I believe, 37 or 39 Aaron Rodgers pass attempts. So I would say you probably need to lower your expectations a bit on Christian Watson. If you were completely fine at running back and you were never going to start James Conner, we would do the second deal to get Lamb. I'm not going to trade Conner straight up for Kirk, though. Now, JM coming out says, in a non-PPR format, short benches, we have Dak, Waddle, Chase, Watson, Williams, Tony, Mixon, Cook, Etienne, Rashad White. Do I drop anyone for any of the below? Deshaun Watson, Garrett Wilson, Antonio Gibson, Isaiah Pacheco, Samaje Perine, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Treylon Burks. The trade deadline is passed. First off, thank you so much for supporting the channel, my friend. And yeah, in a league where you only have 3 benches, I mean, I'd imagine that there are, 3 bench spots. I'd imagine that there are going to be some pretty damn good waiver wire options. So if we were looking at the worst player on our team, the worst player on the team would be Kadarius Toney at this point. If we were dropping someone, we would be dropping Toney. If we wanted to pick someone up here, we'd be 100% picking up Antonio Gibson with the workload that we have with no J.D. McKissic, with the J.D. McKissic injury. So I think we drop Toney to pick up Antonio Gibson. If we wanted to make another pickup, Deshaun Watson's it. I don't know if you want to be dropping Rashad White for Deshaun Watson, though. Let's drop Kadarius Toney, get Antonio Gibson. And in a non-PPR format, I think Rashad White's going to be a little less valuable. So I would explore the possibility of dropping Rashad White for Deshaun Watson. Not something you have to do, though. Now, Byzantine says, is Mostert and Sutton for Chris Olave and Kareem Hunt a good trade? Yes. Rather have Olave over Sutton, Kareem and Mostert, very comparable rest of season. I may rather have Kareem. Okay, so Idion says, in a 14-team league, 6-5, sitting at the 7th seed of 8, Burrow, Najee, Linney, Mixon, Akers, Dobbins, Hunt, Lamb, Olave, McLaurin, DJ. Any moves we should be looking to make? Okay, so we are in a spot where, it would be interesting if we could upgrade at wide receiver. If we could trade Leonard Fournette as well as Terry McLaurin and get an elite level wide receiver in return, get CeeDee Lamb, get Devontae Adams, let's do it. It's just very difficult, though, because, Leonard Fournette was an easy guy to sell like a month ago, but now people have lowered their expectations dramatically, where I don't know if there's a possibility that we can actually pull it off. Let me know if you can. Let me know if that's... Do y'all think this is a trade that could get done? Please just say yes or no. Yes or no. Do you think you could pull this deal out? I would say it's more likely in a 14-team league, knowing depth's going to be very hard to come by. Do you think you could trade Leonard Fournette and Terry McLaurin and go out there and get someone like Devontae Adams? I would say in a 10-team league, no chance. But in a 14-team league, do you think you could do it? Brandon says yes. See what other people are going to say here. Raptor says no, 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 no. Okay. Ivy says yes. Okay. Looks like we have about 75% of the chat saying no, 25% saying yes. Well, good news for you. You only need one person to say yes for us to be able to try to pull it off. The majority is actually saying no now. But I think that's going to be the main deal we try to make. And it will be more possible in that 14-team league where depth is much harder to come by. Now, Suggett coming out says 7-4 in a full PPR format. Traded Pierce and Brian Robinson for Kamara and traded Lamb for Waddle and Lockett since Kump and Goddard got hurt for me. We still have Justin Jefferson. I really like it, my friend. I know everybody's off of Alvin Kamara at this point. Every other message we have in the live chat is, should I trade away Alvin Kamara? Should I trade away Alvin Kamara? Should I trade away Alvin Kamara? But if we're trading away Damien Pierce and Brian Robinson to get him, I think that Kamara does have a much higher ceiling in that full PPR format, just given the passing down role that he has, even if, he hasn't been as good as you were wanting so far this season. But Kanoa says, you said my name right without me helping. Goodish. Hopefully we get better at it, my friend. You know I'm an idiot. I try my best. And real quick, I am an idiot, but one thing that I do know is that over's probably going to hit. Saquon Barkley's probably going to have more than half a rushing yard. Like I said, I'm an idiot, so I can't be certain, but it probably is going to happen. All jokes aside, I know 99% of y'all are on Underdog. Please go take advantage of this. Open up the app right now. You'll see it. Obviously, you're only able to use the bet once, but go make sure you're taking advantage of both of them. You have the Dak Prescott boosted payout for the player parlays, as well as the Saquon Barkley free bet. I have never seen Underdog have multiple in the same week. Usually we're lucky to have one free bet a month. Now you're getting two in the same week. The payout booster, not a free bet, but it is a really cool parlayed bet. I think you can go up to 100x, but I think the cap on it's very low. And if you are one of the very few people not on Underdog, you can find the link in the live chat. You can find it in the description. You can find it in the comment section. When you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $200 and available in damn near every state. But I know most of y'all are already on. Now, Michael says we've got Mixon, Jamal, and Lockett in a 10-team app PPR format, sitting at 7-4. Do I offer second place, who's at 8-3, those three for Amari and Miles Sanders, or am I overpaying? You are way overpaying, my friend. Going from Mixon to Miles Sanders, massive downgrade. Jamal and Tyler Lockett to Amari Cooper. Just don't do it. Please keep Joe Mixon, especially if you are sitting at 7-4. My friend, you should be making it to the fantasy football playoffs. Now, Kevin says, Damien Pierce or Godwin in the flex. Probably Damien Pierce, sadly. SDS Sports says, top of the league at 8-3 in an 8-team PPR format. We have Lamar, Saquon, Walker, Tyreek, Lamb, Andrews, Gabe Davis. Benches Fournette, Sanders, Ayuk, Donovan Peoples-Jones, David Njoku, Juju, and Deshaun Watson. Okay. This is a phenomenal team. Obviously, 8-team league, you're expecting a team to be better than average. I mean, the bar is raised for all teams, but especially if you're going to be sitting at 8-3, like the expectations are sky high for you. I don't know what we could do to possibly improve the roster through trade. Maybe we can sell like Brandon Ayuk and CeeDee Lamb and go get a truly elite level wide receiver. Let's do it. But this is a phenomenal team. Now, Ignat says 9-2 thanks to you. No, you're 9-2 thanks to yourself, my friend, and Justin Jefferson and Jalen Waddle. I think Justin Jefferson, Jalen Waddle are the reason you're 9-2, not us. But anyway, thank you. Lineup is Burrow, Jefferson, Waddle, Kamara, Montgomery, Njoku, Chris Godwin. The bench is Slayton, Boyd, Swift, Jeff Wilson Jr., Odell, Garrett Wilson. Should switch out Waddle for Jeff Wilson Jr. this week? I would say no. I mean, I understand why you want to do it, where the Houston Texans, are 12-point dogs to the Miami Dolphins. They should be able to run the ball consistently in the second half, but still, Jalen Waddle has just been so damn good. You do have Raheem Mostert getting slightly involved. Like maybe if Jeff Wilson Jr. was legitimately just seeing every single touch, if Jeff Wilson Jr. on top of this was getting every single snap out of the backfield, then sure, we could go ahead and look at it, but probably not, my friend. Probably not. I think that you just want to go through, keep it as is. I mean, Jalen Waddle is a locked and loaded stud every week. He has the same good matchup. Carlos says just traded Fields, Godwin, and Pierce for Tua and Dalvin Cook. If you were worried about the Justin Fields injury, sure, but I will say if Justin Fields were to be healthy, it's a big what if. If he were to be healthy, I would probably rather have Justin Fields over Tua Tagovailoa in a 4-point passing touchdown format, given the rushing upside he has. Like I said, I know it's a big if. Now, Dylan says CMC or JT rest of season in a PPR format. Made a trade for CMC before the split carries. Traded away JT and Waddle. Big oof. I can't blame you, my friend. I mean, obviously, it was just a completely different situation at that time, but I think that they are very comparable in a full PPR format, given the usage you have as a pass catcher. You probably still would rather have CMC. Full PPR, you probably still want CMC. Now, Tanner says we have Tua, Lamb, Olave, CMC, Cook, Andrews, Walker, Juju, Palmer, Watson, Fournette, White, Deshaun Watson. Week 12 help, please. In an 8-team league, we're 5-6. Okay, so if you're asking for week 12 help, I'm assuming this means starting lineup. So at quarterback, we're going to have to start Tua Tagovailoa. Deshaun Watson's not back yet. Receiver, I think we go CeeDee Lamb. I mean, the matchup against the Giants, kind of whatever. Lamb's been great. You just really want the Giants to be able to put up points, so they have to throw the ball. Then a wide receiver 2, I think that we're going to end up probably going Juju. No, never mind. We have Olave. We're going to go Olave. Running back, we're going to go CMC. And then we're going to go Kenneth Walker over Dalvin Cook. I think Kenneth Walker has a much better matchup against the Raiders. And then for the flex spot, between Dalvin, Fournette, Rachaad White, Juju Smith-Schuster, in the flex, we will go ahead. We'll play Dalvin. But you know what? Because Dalvin plays on Thursday, you don't want to be playing any Thursday night players in the flex. So let's go ahead and let's switch Dalvin Cook at running back 2 and then put Kenneth Walker in the flex spot just because he plays later. Now, Jeremiah says 1 wide receiver for the flex, Olave, Mike Evans, or Jeff Wilson. I think you could go Jeff Wilson just this week. Just this week, you could go Jeff Wilson if you really wanted to, given the great matchup you have against Houston Texans. Now, Michael says, continued from last message, my starters at running back are JT, ETN, Aaron Jones. Receivers are Hopkins, Devontae Adams, AJ Brown. Won't need a third running back if I get Amari. Plus, we have Watson stash. Okay, so let's go back to Michael's question. So this is the Mixon deal. I understand the thought process here, my friend, but in reality, you are just selling Mixon at such a low point. And what happens if we have an injury? What happens if you have an injury and just something small changes? Yeah, I'm sorry, my friend. You got to keep Mixon there. And official Nolan LaValle says, PPR, we have Donovan Peoples-Jones, George Pickens, Jacoby Myers, Christian Watson, wide receiver 2. We have Jamar Chase, wide receiver 1. Also, should I trade away Swift for Murray in a point per carry league? Other running backs are Damien Pierce and Cordell Patterson. Okay, so point per carry league, I'll say that honestly, Latavius Murray a little bit more valuable, just given the fact that hell, he is going to have a crap ton of guaranteed work. Like you know the workload that Latavius Murray is going to have because he's the last guy standing. And those touches are extremely valuable. You want to get him in the flex spot. However, because you wouldn't even be starting him right now, because you would be starting Etienne and Damien Pierce in front of him, actually, I guess we would be starting him in the flex. If you were in a league where you were 5-6 and you need to win this game, you need points in the lineup right now, specifically because it's a point per carry format, I'd be fine with it. But only because it's a point per carry league. Now, Sandy says one more, trade AJ Brown and Swift for Jacobs and Keenan. Yes, I would. I would rather have Keenan over Swift. I'd rather have Jacobs over Brown. Basil says long-term, Jacobs, Amari, Foreman, or Etienne and Higgins. Jacobs versus Etienne, about the same. Who the hell cares? Give me Amari, Higgins, about the same. I think this is going to be a very fair trade and up to your personal preference. Max says trading Isaiah Pacheco and Mike Williams. Any target at running back 2. I think David Montgomery, James Conner, fine targets just given the workload that they have. And Mac Bain says Mason always working, not working, my man. It is fantasy football. Says in a 10-team full PPR formats, half point per carry, we have Swift, Jamal, Rachaad White, Tony Pollard, Brian Robinson. Start 2. Thanks. No, thank you so much for supporting the channel, my friend. I'm sorry we got a little off topic there. I was just trying to move some messages around in the chat. So half point per carry format does change things. Those grinding running backs between the tackles actually are worth significantly more. Like the efficiency is actually worth a little less. I think you probably end up playing Jamal Williams and Tony Pollard. Like, Jamal Williams is a very viable option here in a half point per carry league. It doesn't even matter that he's not really involved as a pass catcher whatsoever. Yeah, I think we go with Tony Pollard and Jamal. Pollard's going to be a little less valuable in that point per carry league compared to what he would be in just a regular PPR. But I don't know. I mean, the efficiency is just there. He looks so good. Michael says, so would I be wrong to try to trade Mixon and Hawkinson for Kelsey? Stacked team problems. That would be a much better deal, in my opinion. Instead of going and getting like a slight upgrade at wide receiver, if we could go move Mixon and Hawkinson for Travis Kelsey on this stacked roster, that would be much better, in my opinion. Now, John says, in a 12-team PPR format, we're 8-2. We traded away Adams, Pacheco, and Joshua Palmer for Kenneth Walker, Evans, and Deshaun Watson. We have Jefferson, Aaron Jones, Hollywood, Higbee, Goff, Mitchell, Tony, Madison, and Henderson. Give me Adams over Walker, so we're getting a downgrade there. But then a massive upgrade from Pacheco to Evans. A massive upgrade from Joshua Palmer to Deshaun Watson. You don't tell us what quarterback you have on this team. And if we don't see a quarterback that you have, I'm just going to operate under the assumption that you have no quarterback. So for that reason, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's pull the trigger. It sucks trading away Devontae Adams, but especially if we're going to get Kenneth Walker here, I think it does make sense. Now, Wisdom coming out says, we have Damien Pierce at running back 2, and we need a flex in a full PPR format. On the bench/flex, we have Devonta Smith, Ezekiel Elliott, DeAndre Swift, Treylon Burks. Who's the flex and who's the running back 2? Oh, my God. I think the flex is going to be Devonta Smith relatively easily, but the running back 2 between Ezekiel Elliott and DeAndre Swift is not exciting when it looks like, Ezekiel Elliott has no reason to be anything but, the backup running back in Dallas with how damn good Tony Pollard looks. So if we had to sit here, I think we still go Zeke. The offense is going to be much better in a much better matchup than what you have against the Buffalo Bills. They should score more points. You had 2 touchdowns for Ezekiel Elliott this past week. You had the involvement in the red zone in particular. So I don't want to start Zeke with how good Tony Pollard looks, but you probably have to start Ezekiel Elliott over DeAndre Swift, who was outplayed by Justin Jackson last week. Justin Jackson saw more snaps. Now, Justin says currently 7-4. Full PPR 10-team league. We have Tua, Connor, Michael Carter with A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Deebo Samuel, and Tyler Higbee as our starters. And then on the bench, we have Raheem Mostert, Treylon Burks, Tyler Boyd, Brady McKinnon. What's the ideal running back and package I should try to trade? First off, thank you so much for supporting the channel, my friend. I genuinely do appreciate it. Second off, I think we're going to tell you something you don't like to hear, but I think the trade that you have to be making is we have to be selling Deebo Samuel. Now, I understand Deebo Samuel, the 49ers, they looked phenomenal last night. Great. I'm really happy for you if you had him in your starting lineup. Like, if you had him in your starting lineup, yeah, I like the fact that we got points. I like the fact that we probably won last night because of it. But if we try to project this going forward into the future, with Deebo Samuel, the 49ers are not going to be scoring 5 touchdowns every week. They're just not going to be doing it. Christian McCaffrey scored 0 touchdowns last night. I'm no mathematician, but I'd imagine that Christian McCaffrey will be scoring more than 0 touchdowns going into the future. So if we have those 2 combined factors, the overall touchdowns coming down for the San Francisco 49ers and Christian McCaffrey's percentage of those touchdowns going up, I think it does make a somewhat interesting conversation about selling high on Deebo, especially if we have A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. He's your wide receiver 4. If we could go trade like Michael Carter and Deebo Samuel, obviously we're going to shoot for ETN. We're going to shoot for Kenneth Walker. We're going to shoot for Josh Jacobs. That's plan A. You're probably not going to get plan A. So you're probably going to have to lower your expectations a bit. And you're probably going to have to pivot over to Najee Harris, David Montgomery. I don't know if you're going to have an option. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Diego says, Antonio Gibson, Raheem Mostert at the flex. And then Boyd, Burks, or Darius Slayton this week. We're going to go Gibson easily over Raheem Mostert. I mean, Gibson played like 68% of the snaps this past week in Washington. And then for the flex spot, oh my gosh. I mean, for the other wide receiver spot, I think we're going to go Tyler Boyd. I mean, even if we get Jamar Chase back in, Tyler Boyd should be a wide receiver where, hell, I mean, he's very good. It's very good offense. And maybe, just maybe, Jamar Chase is slowly worked in. Of course, that's what we're hoping if you're starting Tyler Boyd. Now, official Nolan in the Valley says, think you missed the wide receiver 2 start. Oh, I'm so sorry if we did, my friend. Let me go ahead. Let's pull this up. Okay, yeah, I was so distracted by the point per carry, Latavius Murray side of it. I think that for our 2 wide receivers, we're going to have to end up going with the combo of, oh my gosh, probably George Pickens and Jacoby Myers. Unless Romeo Doubs is officially ruled out. And if Romeo Doubs is officially ruled out, which he probably will be, then we pivot over from Christian Watson or Jacoby, whichever one you're less excited about, and go to Christian Watson. But I want confirmation that Doubs is not playing this week before we make that call. Now, YRN Leon says, in a 10-team full PPR format, we have Hurts, Prescott, Waddle, Watson, DJ, Tony, Odell, Kupp, Connor, Cook, Walker, Pierce, Murray, and then at tight end we have an Njoku. Any recommendations? Currently 5-3. Top 3 teams that make the playoffs are 7-4, 7-4, and 6-5. If only 3 teams make the playoffs, we need to go all in, my friend. All in for points in the lineup right now. I mean, if we could go through and approach that number 1 team and go, hey man, I'll give you Cooper Kupp and David Njoku. Just get me a slight upgrade at tight end. Just get me TJ Hawkinson. Just get me Pat Freiermuth. That is something you have to go ahead and do. That's something you have to go ahead and pull the trigger on. I mean, same thing. I would look at a player like Donovan Peoples-Jones. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That's DJ Moore, not Donovan Peoples-Jones. A little confused just by the lettering. But maybe the same thing with Odell Beckham Jr. Go and package Odell in a deal with any other player to get the most marginal upgrade you could possibly find. Because the only thing that matters for this team is not the playoff upside for any of these individual assets. If only 3 teams make the playoffs in this 10-team league and we're sitting at 5-6, you got to go all in for right now. Okay. Now, Miles says, pick one must-win week. Cook, Brown, or Jet Wilson. I know that A.J. Brown hasn't been great as of late. I mean, in a full PPR format, I'm going to go A.J. Brown, though. I mean, with Goddard going to the IR, I think that you have a pretty good situation for A.J. Brown where you're just going to get those guaranteed targets from Jalen Hurts. Like Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown accounted for 50% of this team's target share this past week. And then also best tight end to stream rest of season. If you can go pick up David Njoku, I would like that. Or if you could go, I mean, I'm assuming if we are benching guys like Jeff Wilson and Dalvin Cook, if we can just go trade Dalvin Cook and Dallas Goedert and go get Mark Andrews, I'd like that as well. Now, real quick, I know that we're being annoying, but I want to make sure that everybody takes advantage of this. I know 99% of y'all are already on Underdog, so go pull up your app and you will see the Saquon Barkley and Dak Prescott special lines. We're very lucky to get about one of these a month on Underdog when we get it, but I've never seen 2 special lines in 1 week. You get the free bet with Saquon Barkley, and on top of it, the boosted parlay with Dak. I don't know if you can take them together. You probably can't take them together. You're probably going to have to separate them. But regardless, go take advantage of it. It's free money sitting out there. And if you're one of the people not signed up on Underdog yet, it's not too late. You can find the link in the live chat. You can find the link in the comment section in the description. Underdog's available in damn near every single state, not Michigan, Louisiana, Hawaii, Nevada, Washington. Not those, but pretty much outside of that, I think there's another Northeast one. The majority will have Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code FLOCK, and they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100 as well. So it's free money. Now, Trey React says, pick 4. We have Evan Ingram, Dawson Knox, Trey McBride, Jawan Johnson, Deshaun Watson, Paris Campbell, Treylon Burks, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Isaiah Pacheco, White, Raheem Mostert. Roster is Hurts, Brown, AJ Brown, St. Brown, Wilson, Eckler, Dalvin, Walker, Swift, Elijah Mitchell. So we don't have any needs. Maybe at tight end we do. So if we were just going straight up upside, we probably want to pick up 2 tight ends because we have no other tight ends on this team. Let's go with the combo of Jawan Johnson, who's averaged a touchdown a game over the past 5. And Dawson Knox because the offense he's playing in. Let's pick up your call between Treylon Burks and Donovan Peoples-Jones. And then also Rachaad White. So Rachaad White, one of those receivers between Treylon Burks, Donovan Peoples-Jones. 2 tight ends in Jawan Johnson and Dawson Knox, just because we need to try to find a viable tight end eventually. Now, NFL's Moose says, PBR trade Jacobs, Olave, Christian Watson for Amon-Ra and Jonathan Taylor. Amon-Ra, St. Brown over Olave, Christian Watson for me. JT over Jacobs. We'll go St. Brown and JT. Now, my max says McCaffrey and Lamar for Walker, Hurts, Amari. Also have Cook and James starting. Lamar, James, Cook. No, James Conner, then Dalvin Cook. Okay, thank God we're not starting James Cook. Olave, Lockett, McCaffrey, and Jawan Johnson. Ooh. So going from Lamar to Jalen Hurts, call it a lateral move. McCaffrey to Amari and Walker. I really like Kenneth Walker, but if we already have this depth elsewhere, I don't feel the need to be making this 1-for-2 deal where we're giving up the best player in the trade. I'm probably going to keep CMC here. I mean, I understand why you'd want to pull the trigger on this. Like, it is definitely a fair trade, but I think Christian McCaffrey will see some positive touchdown regression soon. I think he will. Now, Easy Eddie says, hey, Mason, 8-3. Now start a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a flex, and a tight end. Thoughts on the roster? We have Fields, Walker, Dalvin, Foreman, Swift, Elijah Mitchell, Alexander Madison, and then wide receiver, we have Evans, Kirk, Olave, Hollywood, Jacoby, Donovan Peoples-Jones, tight ends, Travis Kelce. Any moves or stay put? First off, my man, you know I always have to give you a massive thank you for being a long-time member of the flock. Easy Eddie's probably been a member of the flock longer than anybody out here, including myself. But anyway, I think that if we are going to be looking at making a move, I mean, I don't really see too many outside of if we have, I mean, this much wide receiver depth. If we could go ahead and maybe move Brandon Ayuk and a running back like Deontay Foreman and go get a running back 3 upgrade, that would be nice. I know Ayuk was great this past week, but in reality, I don't know how long this is going to last because we have to be realistic with ourselves. We've said this like 10 times this live stream, but this past week, Ayuk had 2 receptions. Both of them went for touchdowns. So obviously had a good fantasy day, but I don't know how predictive that's going to be going forward. And if we are going forward with this, the San Francisco 49ers are not going to be scoring 5 touchdowns every week. Christian McCaffrey is not going to be scoring 0 touchdowns every week. So I think the overall offensive volume comes down. CMC's percentage of these offensive points comes up. Squeezes out someone like Ayuk who's not getting volume. Let me know what y'all think. I know we've been saying to sell Ayuk for quite some time. Maybe I'm just being stubborn and I'm not willing to take my L because he did look great in the 2 receptions, the 2 touchdowns he had, I mean, last night. But let me know if you think I'm being stubborn and we should just buy into Ayuk and the San Francisco 49ers offensive volume going forward. Or let me know if you think that we're making the right call here. I don't know. Now, Quay says the squad is Kyler, Etienne, Singletary, Hopkins, Amon-Ra, Godwin, Freiermuth, Deontay, Rachaad White, in a full PPR 12-team league. Any moves to make before the deadline? 4 and 7 and 6 teams making the playoffs. Okay, so we need to think about points in this lineup today. I don't really have any. If we could trade Rachaad White and Devin Singletary and go get someone like James Conner, go get a true 3-down bell cow, let's do it. Especially if we're going to be, betting on this Arizona Cardinals offense already with Kyler and Hopkins. I think that's the move. Let's trade Rachaad White and let's trade Devin Singletary. Try to get an immediate upgrade in the starting lineup. Now, Ryan says, my guy Mason, 9-2 in a 10-team league, playing for the playoffs. We have Mahomes, Eckler, Kelsey, Jeff Wilson Jr., Fournette, Gibson, Dobbins, Dillon, Waddle, Amari, Godwin, Pickens, Garrett Wilson, Jameson. Any waiver wire moves? We have Latavius Murray and Alexander Mattison available. I would go ahead and pick up Latavius Murray. I hate to do this. I was dumb and I told a lot of people, and I repeat, a lot of people to go through and to draft J.K. Dobbins this season. But at this point, I think we just have to probably throw in the towel. At this point, you probably just got to take the L, and by you, I mean me. I just have to take the L and say, if we could go ahead and drop J.K. Dobbins and get the last running back standing in Denver and go get Latavius Murray, let's do it. Just because literally he's the only freaking guy there. Now, Nutrition Nut says, would you use a waiver wire ad on Pirine? Our running backs are Eckler, Stevenson, and Etienne. Nope, because you'd only be starting Pirine for this week. And would you start him over these names? Probably not. Probably not. David coming out, super happy to see you out here. My man says, evening, I was offered Damien Pierce and Dalton Schultz for my Tony Pollard. We have Sanders and Mixon out with a concussion and Everett already. I'm thinking no. What are your thoughts? Zeke Elliott still getting involved in Dallas. I know that Tony Pollard looks so damn good, but I probably would. I think Dalton Schultz is a clear upgrade at tight end that we somewhat need. I think if we're looking at Damien Pierce and Tony Pollard rest of season, they're probably pretty damn close. Who would y'all rather have rest of season? Would you rather have Damien Pierce and Dalton Schultz or Tony Pollard? Please spam the chat. We have 500 people out here. Let me know what y'all are doing. Please go to the chat and spam it. Let me know what you're doing here. And Randy says we have Allen, Mixon, Aaron Jones, Etienne, Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Hopkins, Amari, Dalton Schultz, Sutton, and Isaiah Pacheco. Who do I trade for Travis Kelce in an 8-team league? His running backs are weak. If we could trade Aaron Jones, Dalton Schultz, and Cortland Sutton, and friggin' throw in Isaiah Pacheco without cares to get Kelce, we'll do it. But in reality, I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can, my friend. I mean, I think if you wanted to get Travis Kelce, you should have done it a while ago. Like, realistically speaking, it's extremely difficult for us to go through and assume that, oh, yeah, we can trade for Travis Kelce at an easy price tag after he goes through and drops 3 touchdowns on prime time. Like, everybody watch this. Yeah, everybody saw Kelce. I guarantee you the Kelce owner saw what just happened. I don't know if you're going to be able to trade for him. Now, Ajax says in a 14-team PPR, start 8. Thoughts on Dobbins rest of season? I think if he gives you anything, we're lucky. As someone who drafted him, if he gives us anything, we are lucky. And rest of season, who has the highest upside for my 2 flex spots, Christian Watson, Burks, or Dobbins? Probably the wide receivers. Because even if Dobbins comes back, he's probably going to be in a committee. That's the issue. Like, especially if he's not 100% healthy. Like, I think it'd be very difficult for us to assume that he has really any upside, right? I mean, it's painful. I still have Dobbins in a lot of best ball leagues, obviously. I'm hoping that he has the upside rest of season. But even if he comes back, he's coming back to a committee. Now, Nutrition and Nuts is 9-2. Prescott, Tyreek, Brown, St. Brown, Davis, Watson, Pickens, Williams, Gallup, Schultz, Eckler, Stevenson, Etienne. Any of his suggestions on how to improve? I mean, I think that if we were looking at this, it's going to be a very difficult question to answer. I mean, you have a lot of wide receiver depth here where if we could trade maybe George Pickens as well as Dalton Schultz and go get a tight end upgrade, I'd really like it, because when are we ever starting George Pickens? He's your wide receiver 6 here. Maybe you can't say the same thing with Christian Watson or Gabe Davis, just depending on the value of that tight end we can get as well. I mean, I would say all these wide receivers, Gabe Davis, Christian Watson, George Pickens, should be on the trade block for you. If you're currently sitting with Tyreek Hill, who I don't know if you've heard, but Tyreek Hill is a very good option. We can put him in our starting lineup every single week. Top of this, A.J. Brown and Amon-Ra St. Brown. You're in such a good spot. Now, Junie says, traded Chris Olave, Jeff Wilson for Mark Andrews. Team is now Hurts, JT, Etienne, Diggs, A.J. Brown, Mark Andrews, and the flex is James Conner. Go Flock. Thank you, my friend, for supporting the channel, and great deal. Great deal. If we had the elite level wide receivers, the elite level running backs like this, I mean, you are in a position where you can afford to go through and trade for that elite level tight end. Maybe if we overpay a little bit here compared to what the market price is, like it in reality probably doesn't even matter. Like in reality, it just doesn't matter. You got the best player. You have the best starting lineup. Let's go for it. Now, Eric says, thanks for all the great videos, Mason. Just lost my dad yesterday, so this all helps keep me busy. I always look forward to the footage. I am so sorry to hear that, Eric. I am so sorry. I hope that you are doing great. If there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. I can't even imagine what you're going through. I would have no idea. Thank you for supporting the channel, my friend. Thank you for being a part of our community. I'm very, very, very sorry that you have to deal with that you have to go through that. I'm wishing you the best. I'll keep you in my prayers, man, and I'm sorry. And David says, pick 3, Najee, Etienne, Rashad White, Antonio Gibson, Jeff Wilson Jr., and DeAndre Swift. Okay, I think we're going to go with Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, and Jeff Wilson Jr. Jeff Wilson Jr. does have a very good matchup against Houston. And Dylan says, play 2, Terry, Garrett Wilson, Paris Campbell, George Pickens, Don Peoples-Jones. I think we're going to play Terry McLaurin and most likely George Pickens. Kobe says, 5 and 6 mistakenly started Mike Williams over Christian Watson, which wins me this week. Now needing a crucial win, Montgomery, Etienne, Diggs, Godwin, Myers. The bench is Pickens, Mike Williams, Christian Watson, Elijah Mitchell, Samaje Perine. What can I do when people are too stingy to trade? If we're operating under the assumption that we can't go through and make any trades, if the only thing that we can look to do is go ahead and work the waiver wire, God, it's going to be a tough spot. We just want to be making sure that this bench is just full of upside. I think that you're doing everything you can. We just have to get this starting lineup on lock. I like the players that we have down there in the bench. I think that they do have a crap ton of upside, which is what we need if we're not able to make a trade. The worst thing you could ever do is give in to your league mates who are being stingy on trades. Like, obviously, league mates who are super stingy with trades are the absolute worst things ever. Like, you don't want to have to deal with that, and you would rather them not be in your league. But if you go through and you just hit your head against the wall and you are just frustrated to no end where you end up, going ahead and giving into them and overpaying for a player. You worked into their strategy. They worked you up, and they made you frustrated, and you gave them a good deal. So the worst thing you could do is, if your league mates are stingy with trades, is just keep on offering more and more and more to get a deal done, because by the time you're getting the deal done, you know you're getting screwed. Now, the Jonathan says, I have Mixon. Should I spend fab on Pirine or Murray? I'd go Murray. A must win this week. How much fab should I spend? We got $36 left out of 100. If it's a must win week where it's legitimately a must win week and we don't have another running back to start, I'd spend $36. I think Latavius Murray can be a running back that we start rest of season. Hell, there's just nobody left in Denver. Melvin Gordon's waived. Chase Edmonds is injured. Let's go ahead and let's get Murray. Jaden says, in a 12-team PPR format, we traded Aaron Jones, Cole Kmet, and Michael Carter for Kenneth Walker, Michael Pittman, and Robert Tonyan. We have Mark Andrews, so tight end doesn't matter. Great deal. Going from Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker, upgrade. Going from Michael Carter to Michael Pittman, upgrade. And who the hell cares with the tight ends? Good deal, my friend. Kobe says, also have Mixon on the bench. Pain. Always love the vids. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and that is very brutal. I think the team's better long-term when we get Mixon, but I'm trying to come up with something for you, my friend. I just don't. I don't know if there's anything you do. Just don't give in to your league mates if they're being stingy. Michael says, just got Kelsey and Kirk for Mixon, Lockett, and Hawkinson accepted. Oh, great deal, my friend. Love it. No way I lose this $150 10-team league. And now let's go. Super happy for you, my friend. I'm really surprised you're able to trade for Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce literally has tied his career high in touchdowns so far this season. And we are in week 12. My God, dear God. Now, Alex says 7-4 PPR. We have Herbert, Barkley, Stevenson, Jefferson, St. Brown, and Pollard in the flex. We have Higgins, Fournette, Godwin on the bench. Any changes? I would explore starting T. Higgins over Tony Pollard. I would explore that possibility. If you didn't want to make that move, I'm fine with it. But what you would have to do is, if you're planning on starting Pollard, if you're planning on starting anybody on Thursday, anybody on Thanksgiving, make sure they're not in your flex. Make sure they're actually at wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, running back 1, running back 2. That way, if anything happens later on, we could go through and make a switch if need be. Could make a switch if need be. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Robert, who says, 5 and 6, we need a win. Jonathan Taylor and Antonio Gibson have a bye week, week 14. Looking to add ETN or Kenneth Walker for A.J. Brown. My choice of running back, we have Higgins, Gabe, and Pickens. Okay, so if we had to pick between ETN and Kenneth Walker, I would go ahead and, they're so damn close. We literally ranked these guys back-to-back rest of season. So, it's very difficult for me to go ahead and tell you which direction we're going in. I think that you can do really anything that you want. If I had to pick someone here between Antonio Gibson and Kenneth Walker, I would go Kenneth Walker, just because with Travis Etienne, they're not going to be playing for anything at the end of the year. They are going to be just completely out of it. Whereas we know, hell, you have a very good situation in Seattle where they're really, I don't want to say favorites for the division, but currently leading the division and will be playing until the end there. Now, next question coming out from, I believe, Adam says 10-1, happy BR, Singletary or Rashad White, Hogan Morans. Hogan Morans, my friend, if we're pulling up our rankings here, if you're saying rest of season between these two guys, which honestly, I think if you're saying we're 10-1, that's probably indicating rest of season. We would rather have Rashad White over Devin Singletary rest of season. I think Singletary probably has a higher short-term median projection, but I think that you probably have a higher ceiling when it comes to Rashad White if something were to occur to Leonard Fournette, where, we kind of already saw that ceiling this past week. I don't think Devin Singletary can see something change in his situation that makes him that much better going forward. They're getting, James Cook a little more involved, and we haven't even seen them get Nyheim Hines involved in this offense, which at this point is no guarantee, but it's still a possibility. Now, our next switch coming out from no one says Pollard and Ayuk for Olave. You need a lot more for Pollard and Ayuk. I don't mind the idea of trading these two guys, but you need a lot more. And a Beacon of God's Light says you have a good heart, Mason, that you know. Thank you, my friend, for being a member of the flock. Thank you so much for being a member of the community. I truly do appreciate you. And two guys, one goat says PPR on the bench. We need one. Jeff Wilson, Najee Harris, Tony Pollard, or Ramondre Stevenson. Oh my gosh. If we have to bench someone, like I'm not wanting to bench any of these guys, obviously. I would want to start all of them. I think we have to bench Tony Pollard. Najee Harris just is going to get every single touch out of the backfield with the injury to Jalen Warren. Ramondre Stevenson is doing his best impersonation of Alvin Kamara with his workload. He played like 75% of the snaps, 80% of the snaps in New England this past week. Jeff Wilson Jr. is going up against Houston Texans. Pollard, you can make the argument it's the most talented running back out of this group, but they're still using Ezekiel Elliott. Not that excited about it, but I think you have to bench Pollard out of these guys. Now, Kazier says, trade Swift for Najee or Jeff Wilson in the playoffs. I would rather have Najee Harris over DeAndre Swift rest of season. Now, Keith says, in a 12-team full BBR format, 6-5 record, we have Lamar and Deshaun Watson. I need one more piece to make a playoff run, and I think I can get it with Lamar and ride Watson for the playoffs. Who do I trade Lamar for? Obviously, it's very difficult to know without seeing the rest of your roster. I will say Lamar Jackson has been considerably worse since you had the Rashad Bateman injury. Like, since you took Rashad Bateman out of this Baltimore Ravens offense, you've had to lower your expectations dramatically with Lamar Jackson. I still think that he's a fine fantasy option, just given the fact that he is still that elite rushing quarterback. If you wanted to sell Lamar Jackson, there was someone earlier in the live stream that sold him for Deebo Samuel and Dalvin Cook. If we can do that, hell yeah, let's go for it. Now, Money Boy says in a 10-team PPR format, we have Hurts, Walker, Dillon, Higgins, Jefferson, Olave starting, and Godwin, Drake, London, and Pickens on the bench. We need running backs. What should we do? We're 8-3. If you really wanted to make a play for a running back, I think that you could honestly just go ahead and maybe move off of George Pickens in a package with A.J. Dillon to go get a boring running back that has the workload, to go get David Montgomery, to go get Najee Harris with both Khalil Herbert as well as, Jalen Warren going down. These two RBs have bell cow level workloads. So I know it's boring. I know those guys aren't like the most exciting names in the world, but it would be a fine move, in my opinion. Okay. So now our next question coming out from, I believe, Ashton, who says trade Kamara and a side piece for a better running back. Who can't trade Alvin Kamara right now. Nobody's giving you anything for Alvin Kamara right now. Like literally every other question we've had in the live stream this week has been, what can I trade Kamara for? What can I trade Kamara for? What can I trade Kamara for? Nobody's trying to get him. Now, Just Easy, always out here, says Mike Williams and AJ Brown so I can buy Tyreek, a fair trade. Oh, hell yeah, I'll take Tyreek Hill there. We have Ayuk, Christian Watson, Don Peoples-Jones on the bench. Yeah, let's go get Tyreek Hill. I actually really like AJ Brown, especially with the Dallas Goedert injury. I think the volume's very safe. But Tyreek's leading the NFL right now at the wide receiver position. Now, Cole says in a 10-team PPR format, we have Lamar, CMC, JT, Adams, Jamar Chase, Andrews, Lamb. And then on the bench, we have Etienne, Connor, Rondale Moore, Justin Fields, Christian Watson, Kadarius Toney. On the IR, we have Deshaun Watson. Any trades? League mates not wanting a quarterback with trades. Specific trade/roster suggestions. You knew where we were going, my friend. You know we are always going to be trying to sell one of these three QBs. But if that is not going to be a possibility, and we have to get a little creative with another move that we could possibly make, what the hell am I supposed to say? We have possibly two top 5 quarterbacks. We possibly have 2 top 3 running backs with Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey. We possibly have 2 top 5 wide receivers with Devontae Adams and Jamar Chase. We have another top 10 wide receiver with CeeDee Lamb. We have the elite level tight end in Mark Andrews at the tight end spot. Down there on the bench, we have ETN, James Conner, running back one's rest of season with the workload that they have. We have wide receivers with upside in Christian Watson, Rondo. What am I supposed to say, my man? I mean, I would, oh my, what am I supposed to say? You're 10-1. You're the best team out here in this live stream. Do your league mates have any good players left? I would assume no. I'm doing everything I can. If we can't trade a quarterback, the only thing I can say is maybe let's move James Conner and Christian Watson and get a very good wide receiver in return. Just to diversify a bit, but this is a phenomenal team. I'm so sorry, my friend. I can't really help you out here, but you don't need any help. You don't need any help. You're 10-1 with the best team I've ever seen. Now, Michael's coming out again, says, guy with Kelsey has Cup in the IR spot, dropped Brees after the injury, and has Deontay Foreman in the starting role, strictly injury-based trade. Wait, what? So you want to trade Deontay Foreman for Cooper Kupp? Is that what the question is? If that's what the question is, I'll talk on both these players. Y'all know I'm not a big Deontay Foreman guy in fantasy. Love the man in real life. But in fantasy football, not a great situation considering the fact he's in one of the worst offenses in the NFL and he doesn't catch passes. There's nothing worse than that. Literally nothing worse. So, I'm not a big fan of Deontay Foreman. With Cooper Kupp, though, he's not coming back, is he? The thing is, why would the Los Angeles Rams ever bring him back? The Rams are last in the division. Not only are they last in the division, they are 14-point dogs this week. That lets you know the state of the Los Angeles Rams. They are 14-point dogs. I don't really want to tell anybody to trade for Cooper Kupp, regardless of if you're a playoff team or not. He's supposed to miss 6 to 8 weeks. Best case scenario, you're getting him back for the fantasy football championship game. And that's best case scenario. And the Rams have no incentive to bring him back. No incentive at all. So I don't know exactly what the question is, my friend, but hopefully that was able to help a bit. Now, Michael says, in a 12-team app PPR format, 6-5 on the season, sitting in 5th place, we have Dak, Eckler, Rashad White, Damian Harris, A.J. Dillon, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Sutton, Lazard, Dotson, Paris Campbell, Greg Dulcich, Isaiah Likely. Trade or move suggestions. Love the show. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, my friend. And if we were looking to do anything, maybe we could go ahead and try to package together Allen Lazard and Greg Dulcich and go get an upgrade at tight ends. That would be nice. If we could go ahead and maybe get Pat Frymuth in return, let's pull the trigger. If we can get TJ Hawkinson in return, let's pull the trigger. I'm not going to, go way too crazy high and assume that we can get someone like Mark Andrews. I know that's not going to be a possibility, but now that we have the Christian Watson breakout, we have Randall Cobb back from the IR. We have Romeo Doubs possibly not coming back this week, but the week after. It is hard to imagine how Allen Lazard's getting into this lineup, right? It is difficult to imagine how it happens. Now, Tori says, give Pollard for Lamb. Yeah, I'd rather have Lamb. Big Dog Wolf says, traded Amon-Ra and Ayuk for Jefferson and Devonta Smith. Oh my gosh. Easily give me Jefferson over St. Brown. Easily give me Devonta Smith over Brandon Ayuk. Phenomenal trade. Will says, drop one, DJ Moore, Rondale Moore, Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, or Allen Robinson. Drop Allen Robinson. What's the upside? Unless we get a bad injury report with Rondale Moore. Brandon says, trade Najee for Christian Kirk. Running back stacked, wide receivers are thin. I don't want to be trading away Najee Harris right now unless we are having someone overpay for him. I think Najee's actually in a good spot with how the schedule is shaping up, combined with the injury to Jaylen Warren. So I hate to say it, but I actually don't love the idea of going through and trading away Najee Harris right now. I think I think it's actually probably about the time to buy Najee Harris. Now, next question coming out from, I believe, Rich, who says, in a 10-team full PPR format, we traded CeeDee Lamb and Saquon Barkley for Jefferson and Kenneth Walker. Very interesting. Currently 7-4. We have Waddle, Etienne, Jonathan Taylor, Juju. Also traded Evans and Zay Jones for Freiermuth and Juju. We needed a tight end with Dallas Goedert hurt. I really like Pat Freiermuth at the tight end position. I'm going to be okay with it. Let me know what y'all think with this first deal, because this first deal, in my opinion, it's just up to your personal preference. I don't think it's a big deal one way or another, but maybe I am completely wrong. Maybe, the value does lie heavily in favor of one side. Would you rather have CeeDee Lamb and Saquon Barkley or Justin Jefferson and Kenneth Walker rest of season? Please let me know. CeeDee Lamb and Saquon Barkley or Justin Jefferson and Kenneth Walker rest of season? Lamb and Barkley or Jefferson and Kenneth Walker? And as I wait for you to type your message in the chat, let me remind everybody, if you're just now coming in, I've never seen this before on Underdog. They have 2 special bets of the week for Thanksgiving. You have both the Saquon Barkley free bet and the Dak Prescott boosted player prop. Make sure you go take advantage of that. I know everybody here is pretty much already signed up for Underdog. Just open up the app, go to your player props tab, and it should be sitting there for you. It's free money. Take advantage. And if you're not on Underdog, it's not too late. You can go and sign up with the link in the live chat, the link in the description. When you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100, and it's available in damn near every state. But it looks like everybody kind of wants Justin Jefferson and Kenneth Walker. I guess Saquon Barkley has had that pretty big fall from grace at this point. Interesting. John says, rest of season rankings, Cook, Aaron Jones, and Ramondre. They're all about the same. I think I probably go Stevenson, Cook, Jones, but they're all right there. And Herman Deep says Swift and Ayuk for Debo. I would rather have Swift and Ayuk at this point. With Swift, I am really close to just giving up all hope in RP, all hope. But I think Debo and Ayuk have been very comparable so far this year. Like, Debo actually has scored less points than Ayuk so far this season. Now, Angelic says, Pat Freiermuth and CeeDee Lamb for Olave and Swift. We have Andrews at tight ends. I think you want Pat Freiermuth and CeeDee Lamb. If you have Andrews, sure, it's a good idea to trade Pat Freiermuth away, but you need more. Michael says, my last message was me explaining on how I was able to trade for Kelsey. Okay, that makes significantly more sense. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. I was really confused there, my friend. Connor says, DJ Moore or Allen Lazard. I'll go Allen Lazard. I'm just done with it. I know Sam Darnold's coming in. And literally, I was saying earlier this offseason that Baker Mayfield wasn't particularly good, but he was going to be better than Sam Darnold because he couldn't have been worse than Sam Darnold. We've come full circle, ladies and gentlemen. We've come full circle. Now, BFS coming out with a massive donation. Thank you so much, my friend. Says, full PBR 9-2. Should I trade Fournette, Pollard, and Damien Pierce for Stephon Diggs? My running backs after this trade would be Kenneth Walker and Antonio Gibson. Also, thank you so much. You're the reason I'm 9-2. No, thank you so much for supporting the channel, my friend. I promise you, I'm not the reason you're 9-2. Kenneth Walker is probably a big reason. One of the big reasons you're 9-2, and also all your work. So thank you so much for supporting the channel. And I like the idea. And I'd be willing to do it if we could at least keep one of these running backs. Maybe if this is like a 10-team league where we only have one flex spot, then you go ahead and make the deal almost regardless. But assuming that depth is important in this league at all, would be very difficult to go through and make this trade. I mean, Fournette could still be a low-end RB1 rest of season. It's possible. Pollard looks like he could be a running back one. Pierce could. I think at least one of these guys is going to be a running back one. The other one's probably going to be high-end RB2. The other one's probably going to bust. I don't know who it's going to be. They're all very comparable. If we could keep two of these players, if we could keep one of these players, keep any one of them, and then trade the other two for Stephon Diggs, I'd do it in a heartbeat. But to give up all three for Diggs does seem a little over the top. But I think that should be it for the live stream. If you have not done so already, subscribe to the channel. We live stream every single day. I've not missed a single day of streaming in like 150 days. Drop a like on the live stream as well. I'm going to keep this up as a video later on because it seems like people have liked us doing that. And if you want to check out any of these player props, but most importantly, go take advantage of the free Saquon Barkley bet on Thanksgiving, as well as the Dak Prescott boosted player bet. Parlay bet. Make sure you go to the link in the live chat, the link in the description, the link in the comment section. Sign up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, and they'll also match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. But thank you again. I truly appreciate you. I really hope you have a great day, and I really hope we get to see you out in the live stream tomorrow night.